Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Thursday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander. Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen, back with you live for another 2-hour edition here of Birds 365. We'll be getting you ready for the Week 3 matchup between the Eagles and the Rams, a 1 p.m. game this weekend at Lincoln Financial Field. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Thursday morning, brother?
Good. Getting creeping up. Need a little more synchronization. That was the Jalen Hurts word of the day. Synchronization. So we'll see if the Eagles can get some of that.
Yeah.
Against the mighty LA Rams, who everybody thinks is really good. I think they're good. I don't. There's some issues, for me with the offensive line and obviously the linebackers, which is what the Eagles took advantage of last year. So I think those advantages still exist for Philadelphia, but you would think they would stress the situation at least a little bit to more where you have to come out of this shell offensively, because I think the whole thing with offense is just they're so conservative because they're always playing from the lead.
Right.
And the minute they're not, maybe they never will, but the minute they're not, they'll have to play a little bit differently, and I think it'll look better.
Yeah, the straitjacket is back, Johnny Mac. They got Jalen Hurts and that offense back in the straitjacket, man. They're not pushing the ball. They're not putting the ball at risk in any way. So we'll see how it evolves this week. They do have a tougher test this week. John, I want to start the show with just kind of some Eagles daily updates. We will get your take on Jalen Hurts' commentary yesterday. I did read your article on SI.com about Jalen Hurts taking a little bit of accountability for the stagnant offense. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But the first thing I want to do, John, is I want to start on the injury report. What do you know? What have you learned so far? I think Dallas Goedert is the big name. He looked like he returned to practice yesterday. So what's the injury report right now, the latest in Eagle land for who's set to go and who could not go this weekend for the Birds?
Yeah, pretty healthy team. That's another thing that continues to stretch into you look around the league, some of the teams are already really crippled by certain injuries. In the Eagles, one guy didn't practice yesterday, and that was Will Shipley, who's out with what's now described as an oblique injury. So I don't expect him to play again this week. Maybe start talking about him in week 4. Obviously wasn't placed on IR, so the goal is to get him back before that 4-game window. And then Dallas, as you mentioned, was limited. Tanner McKee was limited. I think he's got a good chance to be back as the backup quarterback this week. He's throwing the football. So that looks positive. Jalen Carter is limited with not the arm, but the shoulder, which he has had a problem with dating back to the early days of training camp, if you remember. So, and Vic mentioned that being part of the issue why his conditioning isn't up to par to this point. So those are your limited guys. Dallas did talk yesterday. I was with Jalen, but talked to the guys that were with Dallas, and he said he was, trying to convince them to let him play last week. So as advertised and told to me originally, probably going to be a 1-week injury, not that serious. They were just being cautious. It looks like he'll be back this week, and that's big because you saw, again, lack of production at tight end. Still used the 12 personnel a lot, which I don't understand, but wasn't very effective at times. And he should be back. Now, again, when you say that, it's Wednesday yesterday when we're talking. It's Thursday today. The guys get banged up in practice. Guys have setbacks. So,
yeah, right.
But he's on track to play, I would say. So that part of it's certainly positive, but very healthy as a whole. I mean, I get injury reports from a bunch of teams. They're long, and the Eagles it's been an amazing run from that standpoint as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the philosophy that they employ on the team, right? I mean, we might chirp them about, hey, they look rusty in week 1 and 2, and because they don't play preseason, but their system, John, it has worked in a large way for this for the health of this football team. They've had some very healthy seasons the last really 3 years, John. It feels like, at least to me. I remember 22, they played the Super Bowl with every starter that started the year, didn't they?
Yeah, well, this year they did as well. Not started the year, but every starter with they were very healthy coming into this Super Bowl, ridiculously so.
Yeah, outside into Kobe Dean, I think everybody else
Yeah.
played. Yeah.
So from the standpoint, yeah, it's been quite the run. Now that, yeah, certainly when it comes to week one, I think their philosophy helps a lot to get guys out there. But a lot of that is out of your hands, out of your control. And they've had good injury luck. And that's why everybody looks at the sky and says, well, at some point, something's going to happen. It's pro football. You thought about that when Landon went down in training camp, and all of a sudden, he's got surgery and he's back. Canned out beers a day later. So it's been a nice stretch when it comes to injuries, but there's certain things like obviously torn ACLs, torn patellar tendons, as you did lose Ben Van Sumeren, so they've lost players. But not key players, and that's a big part of it.
Yep, no doubt about it, John. And then on the other side of the ball, the Rams injury report, I think they're pretty healthy as well. They had a couple guys did not practice yesterday, a couple guys to keep an eye on. Devontae Adams, but he was rest, so he'll be good to go for the game. And then you had 3 significant guys on their trenches. So you have Steve Avila with an ankle, and offensive lineman. I believe he's their center, if I'm not mistaken. Then you have Rob Havenstein, offensive lineman as well. Now, he was rest, so he should be good to go. But Steve Avila missed the game last week. He got replaced by Justin Dadich, and we'll see if he can go. And then Braden Fisk with an oblique was out of practice. He got injured, John, in pregame warmups last week, and then he only played 13 snaps in the game. So if those 2 guys can't go, that will be a knock for the Rams for sure.
Yeah, I don't think their offensive line is fine, I would say, but I don't think it's top 5 or near the top of the league when they're healthy, and they do have some issues. So that's what I was talking about before. Those are the 2 situations, because they're really good at quarterback, they're really good at receiver, obviously. So the skill position players are really good. Kyron Williams, I like as a player, but I mentioned yesterday, a little bit concerned about his propensity to put the football on the ground, which the Eagles took advantage of last season in both games. So, it was consistent. And then the linebackers, and you've gotten Christian Rosenboom out there, Nate Landman in there. But again, I don't know if that's enough to make that big of a standpoint. But those are 2 positions that can't afford to lose people at, and they're already banged up. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Most of the league is already banged up, and the Eagles are like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, right.
For the most part.
Yeah, right. John, a couple players spoke yesterday. We'll talk to you about that. Jalen Hurts, I like what he had to say. I think that's kind of, I don't know, maybe just my perspective, but growth as a leader, in terms of, I don't know if all this offensive stagnation is on him or not. Maybe more if it is on him than we're laying out. But, he kind of took a lot of credit for it yesterday. Hey, it's my job to go out there and facilitate this offense. It's my job to make this thing run, basically just paraphrasing for Jalen Hurts. Your thoughts on kind of his comments yesterday on the offense and where they are as a unit?
Well, first rule of quarterbacking, when things are going well, it's we. When things are going poorly, it's me. First rule. And if you don't do that, you can't be a quarterback. So I think it's always positive when the quarterback stands up and take accountability. Now, sometimes it's not their fault. The other cliche that's true, quarterbacks get more credit for what happens when you win, and more blame than they deserve when you lose.
Right.
Just nature of the playing the position. So I mean, again, everybody wants an answer. It's the offensive coordinator. It's the play calls. It's all of it, and he's part of it, and he's a big key part of it. So, and even things like the mindset of, hey, we're ahead again. Let's just run this thing out. Let's not turn it over and get out of here with a victory. Even that factors into it. So all these things happen. But yeah, I think, there's a give and take to that double positive they always talk about, the turnover ratio, explosive plays, and
Yep.
they don't correlate. So, to get more explosive plays, you got to take chances sometimes. And they don't take chances because they're trying to win games. Um, at some point they will have to take chances and you'll see what the offense really is.
Yeah.
But this mentality of they can turn the switch on whenever they want. I didn't like it last year, and people say, "Well, it worked." Okay, talking about consistent long range. That to me is the anomaly, not the standard, as Jalen would say. That's the anomaly. You can't just assume it's going to be there if you don't use it, and then you need it. And maybe it happens they need it this week, and maybe people say again, see, they could do it whenever they want. I don't believe that. And one of the reasons I don't believe that is because they don't believe that. They didn't believe it last year. Did it happen? Yes. But you can go back, you can look at all the interviews and all the quotes coming out of some of the games, the Carolina game most specifically, where everybody's, including Jalen Hurts, is like, basically if you don't use it, are you going to lose it?
Right.
So it's an interesting discussion and a very layered discussion, which is not, the easiest thing to get across because, people are people. They want to blame something. And it's a bunch of different things. It really is.
John, you mentioned last year with when they did not have their running game, as explosive as many of the other games in the year, they were able to take advantage of it, as you just pointed out. This year, and it's only 2 games, so it's a very small sample size, but Jalen Hurts ranked 33 of 34 with any quarterbacks that have 20 or more dropbacks in their average depth of target. It's the lowest in his career by far. It almost feels like they're not even trying to push the ball down the field, and it's not like they've had 2 world beater running games. So I don't know when it's going to come. I don't know if it's just early evolution. I don't know what the reason for that is, but I see a problem with that, John, where, at least last year, they might have passed it limited, or they might have been 29th ranked. But when they did pass it, they were pushing the ball down the field. I mean, they had deep shots. Their average depth of target last year, I think, was 8 yards, one of the highest in Hurts' career. It almost feels like they're not even trying to push it right now. Now, it's only 2 games. I understand that. We got long way to go here. But have you noticed that, or are you less concerned on that than I am?
No, well, I saw the number, but yeah, that the sample size is way too small to take that much into it. I mean, everybody goes back and everybody acknowledges and everybody now sees that they had a shot play called up on the first play of the game. And that's a perfect example of, all right, well, it's called. That's going to be a 30-yard pass down the field or whatever. He seemed like he was wide open, unless it's a completely misfired ball. It's going to be a big play down the field. And the tight end misses the block, and you don't even know it exists until it's explained and you watch the all 22 and everybody, yep, we got it called up. I mean, that's football. And that's why I always say nobody's judging play calls. They're judging play results. And that has nothing to do with play calling. But overall, yeah, they've been very conservative. It's fair to say that.
Yeah.
But they haven't been in a position where they need to not be not conservative. Generally, you see it all the time with mainly with the poorer teams. What happens when they're down by 2 scores? Well, they start taking chances. And then a lot of times things manifest in a negative way, and a 2-score lead becomes a 3-score lead. Or sometimes, they got it clicking and they close the lead and it's exciting and everybody loves offensive football and there's a back and forth. right now the Eagles haven't had to pull that card out. The question is, can they pull it out when they need it?
Well, I feel like, and I understand they're 2 wins, but it feels like those games. You said it on the post-game show. If the Eagles play A+ football in this game, they blow that team off the page. And that's kind of where I feel like I'm between, where it's like, we're winning. Yeah, I like it. But as you always talk about, the margin for error is smaller, and you can almost see that in the scores of the first 2 games, where it feels like the Eagles were much better football teams than both of those teams, and they squeak out of there with W's. Now, I get it. It's some of that's just football. You're not going to win every game by a big margin, but, part of me wants to see them activated a little bit more. We'll see if they can continue to do that. John, anybody else speak yesterday that had some notable commentary? I was busy in the middle of the day. I didn't get to hear everybody, but I did hear Jalen Hurts, who I thought was great. But any other key takeaways from Jalen or anybody else that spoke yesterday?
Well, I had a lot of tush push stuff, unfortunately, understandably. So I kind of tuned out. Jordan was good. Jordan Mailata.
Oh yeah, Mailata went off on it, right?
Yeah. But I kind of, as I said, I'm boycotting the tush push talk, at least. I don't care. Run the plays. But it's funny. Jordan said, it's cooked. So enjoy it. He basically said the same thing.
Yeah.
Jason
Kelsey's out there on Twitter too, running a tour for it again. I'm like, Jeffrey Lurie got to Kelsey because I think he spoke at the owners' meeting last year.
Yeah.
Now he's on Twitter, vouching for the play. But look, I think it's gone, but it is what it is. We'll have it for the year, Johnny Mac.
Yeah. So enjoy it. Jordan said you got 6 months to live. What do you do? Live it up, basically. So, and maybe they call it 18 times. He's joking, but it's a very successful play. They should use it as long as it is legal. There's nothing wrong with it. I've never made that argument. I just don't think it belongs in the game. But it is in the game, and they should use it because they do it than everybody else. They do it better than everybody else. And we'll see how by the way, you have to see how the NFL officiates it, because they're going to get instructions because of that shit show. So
the guy on Twitter, John, NFL Ref Stats was messaging me yesterday about that, about keeping an eye on, he thinks there's some sort of directive that might be given to the officials.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I'm muddying the water on that,
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all that they will be told to look for this or look for that. But anyway, that to me is just driving me insane. So I'll leave that off to the side for now. But one of the things, just to wrap up the Chiefs stuff. Like, they've been good for so long. Like one theme I heard was Arrowhead is such a tough place to play. Like they came in, and historically, that's absolutely correct. Under this team, it is one of the toughest places to play. And I think they went in with the mentality of this is the old Chiefs. And that's where we differ. I think in a lot of ways they hampered themselves by giving the Chiefs the respect that they had, that they earned when they were the Chiefs.
Right.
I don't think they're that team anymore. And I think they were very conservative from that standpoint as well. But the stadium part of it's still true because there's that lag where the fans there still think they're really good. I don't think they're really good. And I think the Eagles gave them that deference. So I think that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Instead of just going, we're better than this team. Let's just go.
Right.
Let's just go roll.
Almost bought into it a little too much. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I truly believe they did. And then the part you saw at the end of the half, Mahomes is Mahomes, and there's this fear of giving him the football at the end of the game or the end of the half, and that's what happened with the Eagles there, and they were less aggressive than normal. So it just seeps into your mindset. Which it's in years past, you certainly don't want Patrick Mahomes getting the ball last, but if he's thrown to Tyquan Thornton, that might change your thought process and say, well, he's going to get the ball last, but his best receiver is Tyquan Thornton. You might go, oh, all right, well, maybe I'm not so scared.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that seeped into the thought process.
Yeah, they got out of there with the win. Now moving on to the Rams here in week 3. It should be a good game this weekend. I think it's one of the best games of the weekend. I think that Monday night game is going to be pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, the Monday night game is Ravens and Lions. That's either Monday night or Sunday night. I thought it was Monday night. I'll have to double check that.
I got to look at the schedule.
Yeah, let me pull it up. But Eagles Rams is one of the better games of the week here in the NFL week 3, and it's a 1 p.m. So Johnny Mac is happy about that. Tonight we gotta suffer through the
Miami Dolphins.
But at least
boy,
at least you can watch the Bills.
I don't know what the spread is on this game for all the gamblers out there, but take the Bills.
Yeah,
I don't care what it is. Take the Bills. This is the closest thing to a college game you're going to see. Not for the reason the Dolphins have good players. Like I say, everybody has good players, but they've checked out on that coach. It's clear. Everybody knows what's going on. It's a bad situation down there. But yeah, certainly the Eagles Rams are, and that Lions Ravens game is Monday night. Sunday night is Chiefs Giants. So we got 2 stinkers.
Chiefs Giants. Oh man.
Thursday night, Sunday night, we got 2 stinkers. And that's what happens quickly.
I bet you that Giants team will garner a little attention for 1 week after putting.
Well, it's New York. Yeah. I mean,
they put up like 450 yards last week. So I think some people will be like, "Oh, wow, could they do that again?" Maybe.
They always try to hype up the New York football teams because it is New York, but they've been so bad. There's nothing you can do.
The New York teams are.
It's been a long time where both of them have just been a disaster. So. And that I always have. I mean, you had JJ McCarthy in the windows on Monday night, Sunday night, and that was just, I mean, I couldn't finish those games. I don't know if other people could, but that's some ugly football. And yet they keep setting records for TV ratings. People do not turn off the NFL no matter what.
They really don't. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable phenomenon how the NFL, especially in modern times, John, where
everything is
there's a million options. You know what I mean? Like you can watch anything all over the place. There's never been more options for entertainment than
never. And now. TV ratings as a whole are in free fall to the point that people think it's a dying industry, except
the NFL. It's crazy.
For the NFL. And playoffs in other sports. But
even those, I mean, what's the highest rated NBA finals, which is probably the second biggest sport?
Well, I'm just comparing it to, I'm not comparing it to the NFL, to the rest of television. It's still very, very successful.
Yeah, right. So the NBA finals averaged 10.27 million viewers over 7 games. Like that's pretty good. You're right for the rest of television, but even that in comparison to the NFL,
to the NFL, it's horribly bad. But
just
compared to everything else, it's like by far number 1 of the week. And I don't think people realize how few people watch linear TV now.
Yeah.
And the people that do have so many, to your point, options that everything's fragmented. Which is interesting because they keep giving these massive television deals to the NBA and the NFL, it's understandable. But that too, they don't make money on the NFL because they pay them so much.
Right.
They can't. It's a loss leader for them, and the fact that there's a prestige in having NFL football, and you try.
It's a catalyst to make money in other areas. Yeah,
but there's just from the pure amount of money they spend, and that's always been the one concern, but there's no evidence of it slowing down, that these people wake up and say, we're losing too much money. And if you stop TV rights fees in all of sports, the entire landscape changes. That is, I think we always talk about the NFL on my tangent, but this is an interesting subject to me because I have a lot of contacts and I've covered TV ratings and rights fees for a long time.
Yeah.
If that ever changes, I don't think people understand. For all the talk of the NFL and how much money they make, 66%, 2/3 comes from television right fees. Bang.
I do think some of these outlets are getting closer to being positioned for making up for for that, like these streaming network software. If
Yeah.
Netflix, no, not as big.
Well, they're big. It depends how you look at it. From a stock standpoint, like Netflix is off the charts.
Right.
From a debt standpoint, they
Yeah.
keep losing money. They can't monetize it.
Yeah, they got a lot of debt. These companies, these modern companies, John.
It's always been like, because I've had this argument. Social media people are very focused on, well, everybody does this on social media, everybody does that on so, and they're 100% right. How do you monetize it?
Well, look at us right here.
Well, I'm talking.
You're right in the sense of it's actually one of the things I take pride in. A lot of people make a lot of content. It's not easy to monetize the content you create on these platforms.
And I'm talking NFL level. So you're getting, billions of dollars, and more people. And this is a problem for every big television vehicle. So NFL, NBA specifically, because their audience skews young. And Adam Silver admitted this recently, might have been this week. More people watch their product in, highlight form, be it TikTok or X or Instagram, or more people watch their product on that than watch their product on. Now they're going to be on Amazon for years.
Right.
They've been on TV. More people watch it, but the other guys are the ones paying them. So how do you keep them happy?
Right.
If everybody's just consuming things and X isn't paying what freaking Amazon is paying for the full games, but yet people sit and watch highlights on X and get their information that way. It's a very interesting situation people are trying to navigate. And there's always been this fear that at some point they're going to wake up and say, we can't afford this anymore. And to a certain degree, it's happened with baseball. ESPN said, we're out.
Yeah.
We can't afford this. Now they're trying to renegotiate and get back for a lesser number. But they're like, we're out. So it's already started.
I know. It's going to be interesting, John, the next 10 years how this develops. But we'll keep an eye on it. John, a couple super chats we'll get to. I have a good conversation for you coming up here in hour number 2. We're going to talk to Caden Steele. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. Don't forget to hit that like button for us. All right, coming into week 3 of the NFL. It goes by quick, John. I know sometimes you like to say it doesn't go by quick, but, man, it goes by quick. We're already going into week 3 here in the NFL, man. So let's get to some super chats right now. John, you'll like this one. All right. Anytime a Billy Bean is referenced, Eduardo, good job. John loves Moneyball. Eduardo says, I'm getting Billy Bean vibes from the Eagles, but instead of getting players on base, Eagles are going for no turnovers. LOL.
Yeah. Well, and you want to boil it down even further. You're not buying players, you're buying wins for Billy Bean, if you want to use the Billy Bean thought process. So, yeah, I mean, the Eagles are ahead of the game when it comes to that stuff. And look, you have to do it. You have to execute it. Everything comes down to execution. The number 39-8. I mean, all right, you could say it. That's their turnover ratio in these 18 of 19 games. 39-8. 39 takeaways, 8 giveaways. You're going to win a lot of football games. And they've won a lot of football games. And how do you, the easiest way to ball security, there's technique and all that stuff, and the Eagles pay more attention to it than most. I see it every day at practice. They spend an inordinate amount of time on ball security. So there's technique and fundamentals, but the easiest way, don't put the football in harm's way.
Yeah.
If you're dropping back 40 times and throwing layered throws over the middle of the field,
yeah, but don't you think there's like we talked about this yesterday, but they've like reduced it to that, and it's like that maybe makes sense for a team that has Tyquan Thornton. Does that make sense for a team that has A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, where you have the ability to be as explosive as the Eagles' offense would allow? And if you get to that level, or you push to achieve those desired results, the margin for error will be so much bigger that if you do get a couple more turnovers, you'll be all right. It almost feels like we've reduced it. All we want to do is sneak by. When I don't feel like we have to sneak by every week, John. I feel like we're good enough to not have to sneak by, but I don't know. Maybe I'm off base.
Well, you're right. I mean, that was the mentality of the greatest show on turf, Rams. Um, and that's the only team I've seen succeed with that mentality. I will say that. So that to me is an anomaly too,
Right.
because they would turn it over all the time. Not all the time, but they didn't give a shit. They're like, all right, well, we're down set. We're just going to go bang, bang, bang right down the field and score. And, they didn't care. And it worked for them for 1 year. And they won the Super Bowl. So you can always point to these little anomalies. But hey, as good as the Eagles are, they're not that good from a standpoint of, that might be the best offense of all time. Marshall Faulk, all Hall of Famers all over the place. Kurt Warner,
Right.
high volume thrower.
That's an extreme though, John, isn't it? Like there's
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's an anomaly, just like the Eagles were an extreme in the other direction. I think.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, you can point to the Rams and say, "Well, they did it. You can do it." No, they're an anomaly. And you can point to the Eagles. Well, they did it this way, and you can do it. No, they're the anomaly. That's what I'm saying. They're both extremes.
All right. What about like in the middle though, where like most of the modern game is played, where the Eagles obviously
Well,
have
then that's where the middle is. That's where you're 10 wins, 9 wins. Nobody wants to be there.
So you like what you think what they're doing?
I don't like it. I think what they've done is there's two different things. Is it pretty? Is it aesthetic? No, it's brutal. Let's be honest. It's brutal. Is it successful? Yes. You can't debate if it's successful for them. They built the team this way, and they're taking advantage of how they built the team. You can't build a team a certain way and then play a different way and say, go play like the greatest show on turf Rams. And the greatest show on turf Rams can't play like the Super Bowl 59 Eagles. I mean, that's part of the greatness. You build a team and you take advantage of what you do well, and you ride it to a Super Bowl. That's what a special season is.
Right.
But when you start talking about longevity, neither of those philosophies works with longevity. Like, you can't just play like the Rams, the greatest show on turf Rams, for 10 years and say, well, just do it again. And we'll rotate some rando in for Marshall Faulk, and we'll rotate, somebody in for Torrey Hilton. We'll keep it going, and Isaac Bruce, and we'll keep it going. It doesn't work that way. So if you're talking about longevity, if you're talking about the Patriots and teams like that, then it's about building more of something that can sustain. And I don't think either of those avenues, those extremes, can sustain for a decade. Like, the Patriots won more than a decade, but for that kind of longevity, I don't think either of those philosophies sustain. You've already saw it with the Rams. It didn't sustain itself. I don't think this can sustain itself. And I think you're seeing some of the cracks early this season, even though they're 2-0. Like, it shouldn't be this much of a chore. But they boiled it down to, if we just turn the football and see the mindset. Like, if I'm Nick Sirianni and I'm in my office by myself, I mean, I'm being honest with myself, and I'm saying, well, yeah, we're 2-0, but now, and we're winning the turnover ratio as usual, and we don't turn the football over. But now we're counting on CD Lamb dropping the football. We're counting on Travis Kelce dropping. I don't want to be in that position.
Right. And that's where you got to try and increase your margin a little bit. And, and the way to do that is to move the ball a little bit differently. More,
and they'll get better. I said they'll get better. There's too much talent, and they'll be in positions where they have to push it. So the personality of the game will take care of itself at times, where you have to play a certain way. But when they don't have to play and they're controlling things, they're going to be conservative. Let's be honest.
Yeah, good stuff there. Eduardo, appreciate the super chat, brother. Brian Fleming checks in with $5. What's up, Brian? We have 10 games left against playoff teams last year. Squeaking by a dilapidated Chiefs team and the Cowgirls is concerning. Week 3 or not.
Well, like I said, I think part of it was seeped over a self-fulfilling prophecy from talking to a bunch of guys yesterday. It's like, well, it's such a hard place to play, and it is. But you're talking about the old Chiefs. Hey, maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but I don't think they're very good. I don't think life moves quickly, right, in the NFL, and just because you were good last year doesn't mean you're going to be good this year. And the Chiefs have had a tremendous run, and it'll get better when Rashee Rice gets back and Xavier Worthy is healthy. It'll get better for them. They're not a terrible team, but the team that played the Eagles on Sunday wasn't good. So, and I think you gave them the deference of this is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that was part of the issue as well.
Yeah, I agree. I like that take by you. JD3 checks in. What's up, JD? It's time for Eagles fans to admit Herbert is top 5. I might have him top 3. Through 2 weeks, he's been the most impressive.
Where are those dummies? Where are those dummies? Look at it. Those are the people that look at a stat book, look at one game, look at one playoff game, and say the quarterback is responsible for everything. And like, I don't have any time for those people. That I always call it least common denominator, low hanging fruit. If you're boiling everything down to quarterback versus quarterback, I mean, it's not worth having a discussion. It's not. Anybody in this league. I had this debate for years about Matthew Stafford. Now everybody's like, Matthew Stafford's great, and he's not even as good as he was.
Yeah, right.
At his age, he was much better in Detroit. I get that. I get that feeling with Justin Herbert. There's a lot of people are like,
see, I get that feeling with Joe Burrow, where he's in such a shitty organization. Like my only problem with Herbert, and I agree, he's an
well, no, but Joe's
talent.
already made a Super Bowl. He's
yeah, but wait, my point is that Joe proved like when they did get there, he's a big game player. My only thing with Herbert, and I don't know, John, maybe you don't think this. I think there is an element to players that play big in big games. Not everybody's capable of doing it. At least I don't think. And I think certain guys handle it very well. Justin Herbert, only to this point, I mean, he's a great quarterback, but he hasn't quite handled the big game in his career. I think he's got 2 playoff games, and both of them are pretty ugly performances on his part. So that's my only thing there is I like to see players who play good.
I'm just telling you, he's a great quarterback.
Yeah,
that's all I'm telling you.
He's got great talent. There's no doubt.
mean, and
he
now
looks like a man on a mission this year. I will say that he looks a lot.
And now that he's got a coach who understands how to coach, and who understands how to help him, elevate his natural gifts, it's going to get better. And I'm very wary of so-and-so can't play because of one playoff game. Again, Ben Roethlisberger had his worst game in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes had 2 of his worst games in his Super Bowl losses. Literally 2 of his worst games.
John, he was pretty bad in one of his Super Bowl wins too. People forget that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like the only thing worse than one game scouting is one play scouting. You know, when people take out one play and say, look at this guy. This guy's great. Take out the biggest highlight of the game. And meanwhile, that was like Devin White. That to me defines Devin White.
Right.
Look at this guy. And then you watch the 60 other plays and you go, oh boy, he's constantly out of position. He's in the wrong gaps, all that kind of stuff. But he's such a super athlete. You know, every once in a while, you just guess right and you look like a world beater.
Right.
When you have consistent play from play to play to play to play, that to me is true greatness. And Herbert's still young, but yeah, it was very weird. First of all, I have no idea why Eagles fans care about the chart. I guess because on most of those lists, he's ahead of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think that's literally it. It's just quarterback rankings.
But I've tried to explain, if you're another executive, you're not playing like the Eagles. So yeah, the 31 other executives, I guarantee more than 16. So that 16 to 16 would be even. I guarantee you more than 16 would want Justin Herbert because they're going to play a different style of football. So, I mean, if you use that thought process, maybe it makes it a little easier, or even easier. Who gives a shit? For the Philadelphia Eagles, I take Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Because that's what the Eagles are built for.
Yeah, right. Makes sense. Good stuff, JD3. Appreciate the super chat. Good stuff, everybody here this morning. I'm going to turn the page here. All right. And we want to get to a topic, John. I'm going to move into a topic here on the Eagles rookies. All right. And specifically on one player, Jahad Campbell. And I want to kind of lay out one, how good Jahad Campbell's been, and then what kind of how this linebacker room might evolve through the next couple of weeks. All right. Jahad Campbell, John, it came down, PFF put out their top 15 NFL rookies through week 2. All right. Number 2 on the list was Jahad Campbell, second to only Jackson Hawes, the rookie tight end with the Buffalo Bills, who I think is getting a lot of his grade as a run blocker, which is fine. But a run blocking tight end there, Jackson Hawes. And then you have Jahad Campbell graded out at an 83.7. A pleasant surprise, John, for the Birds to have another rookie performing at this high of a level. And boy, he looks like he could be a great player in this league, John. Only a couple games into his career, he already looks damn good, John.
Yeah, now this is where I'll rip the rest of the NFL. I wrote about this. Like, I can't believe the short-sighted thinking of this league. And I'm talking about the worst case scenario. So, I mean, we all know Vic had said he was told by the training staff he wouldn't be back till August. There was concern he wouldn't be able to play week 1 and he might have to start the season on PUP and miss some games because he had March labrum surgery. And this is the reason he fell to the Eagles at 31. They traded up one spot. They tried to trade up to 22. They started to try to trade up at 22. So they were willing to take him that high. And some people, I saw one report that said even higher. I have not. I confirmed 22. So they were on Jahad Campbell, and everybody else is like, oh, how can we take Jahad Campbell? He might not be ready to play. Again, I say, who gives a shit? If you hadn't seen Jahad Campbell yet, very similar to Cooper DeJean last year. Remember, Cooper didn't play until week 6. Were you happy with Cooper? Like, and again, I'm talking about organizations.
It almost feels like how the hell do you think like that if you're an organization?
That's my point. And the answer is simple. Other GMs don't have leashes. So they need to prove themselves always in the immediate fashion. So really the big problem is ownership. Because if you believe in a guy, you have to give him a leash to do some things. Because if you're constantly GMing for your job, you're going to make shitty decisions. Saying, well, I know this guy's better, but I need this guy because I need somebody to play right away because I got to keep my job. I mean, that is the worst way to go about any profession, but that's pro sports. The Eagles are rare. And how he gets to make these decisions and how he knows if it doesn't work out, he's not going to be run out on a rail.
Right.
Now, he hates when you bring this up. He likes to say he's not on scholarship, but guess what, Howie? You are on scholarship. And
Howie's earned that to some extent.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying acknowledge it because that's one of the big. I'm just saying it's one of the big advantages he has over his peers. The biggest.
Yeah. It's good ownership, John, but it's also good GMing because most owners might look at their GM and they might not think that they're going to get better. You know what I mean? Like a Howie, I think you can honestly look and say, at the very least, Howie will try and get better every time he makes a wrong move. I don't know if other owners have confidence in their GMs. Like, for example,
Well, that's another thing.
you were tough on Ryan Poles, and it's like, hey,
Uh-huh.
maybe and they already given him a contract extension, so it's probably not a good example. But I'm just saying, other owners might look at a GM like that and be like, all right, he hasn't been great, and I don't really see him improving or trying to fix the mistakes he made. I'm going to blow him out.
Well, that's the second part of it, and yeah, Ryan still stinks. Don't get that conflated.
I
But
know you're not a Ryan
the second part of that equation is they're also don't feel the ability to move on from mistakes. That's why they hang on to first round picks longer than they should. That's why they hang on. Like, how many teams would have signed Bryce Huff to that contract last year? No, they would have stuck him on the back, even if they're not going to play him. The vast majority of teams would have stuck him on the back end of the roster until after this year and then moved on. And Howie's like, no, Bick doesn't like him. We're going to move on. And I'm going to figure it out. So it works both ways. On both ends, he's got a big advantage because he's allowed to point out, essentially, when you do something like that, you highlight, we made a mistake. And the quickest way to fix a mistake is by admitting a mistake. But other guys don't feel comfortable admitting a mistake. So they say, like, you watch with JJ McCarthy. That kid is going to be an albatross on that franchise for 2-3 years.
I know.
And that was a terrible. And I don't like to be in pain. Look, he's shooting nothing to the point where you say, all right, there's a lot, there's this, there's that. Carson Wentz got a chance to take that job. That's how bad it's been.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think he will, because I don't think Carson has that much left. But you made that. Now they made a bunch of bad decisions because they had a bunch of good but not great quarterbacks in the organization, and they misevaluated. They're going to double down. It's just the worst case scenario. So it works both ways for the Eagles. They can afford to take chance, and they don't always work. They did it with Sidney Jones, top 15 talent who tore his Achilles at his pro day, and they said, we'll wait. Didn't work. So it doesn't always work.
Well, it's working right now for the Eagles and Jahad Campbell. I'll tell you that much. He's graded out real high.
Yeah.
John.
Well, and he was there, and the worst part for the rest of the league, he was there week 1.
I know.
He was there day 1 of training camp.
It didn't even happen the way they thought it would happen. John, I'm going to give you some of the grades real quick on Campbell. Overall grade is 83 point. Again, only 2 weeks. I understand that. All right, 13th out of 111 linebackers on the overall grade. The thing that stands out the most, John, how about his coverage grade right now? 88.3. He's 7th out of 111 graded linebackers. And we always talk about coverage and linebackers. Jahad Campbell is off to a very good start, Johnny Mac, especially in coverage and just as a versatile linebacker. I think he's he's got Vic foaming out the mouth though with him and Bond out there, man. Both playing good right now.
Yeah, because the rep, and that tells you about rep. Yeah, and is the one thing that hasn't been great is his pass rushing grade.
Yeah, right.
Which was and that's what everybody's like, oh, he's going to be a big pass rusher, and all of a sudden, he's doing some things in coverage with his length, and he's running down the field in Tampa too, running the pole. He's doing everything in coverage, but he looks like he's a work in progress, to be kind, on the pass rush.
Which I don't think is a big deal. I mean, he's a linebacker. Right now he's playing off-ball linebacker. You know what I mean? I think that's a process that takes time for edge rushers.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, he they're already starting to use him in different ways. Of his snaps, and where, again, it's a very small sample size, but 87 of them have been an off-ball linebacker. 19 of them have been as an edge defender. So that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
and 6 in the slot. So, normally when teams are spread out, you're going to have a linebacker in the slot. And then even he's been wide twice. So essentially playing cornerback. So you hear about some of these people around the league that play all over the place. And that was the envision, that he's going to be a hybrid player. So he's already, and you saw him drop down a lot in Kansas City to go to 5-man front. So they come out in their 4-man front, and then they drop Jihad Campbell down on the edge and change it to the 5-man front. He's already done that a bunch of times, and that's only going to continue as he gets better at it. But yeah, very unique, very versatile, very long, obviously very athletic. And if he does get the pass rushing part of it down, look out, man.
Yeah.
Look out.
No doubt.
And the rest of the league should be ashamed to allow this type of talent to the reigning Super Bowl champions. Ashamed of themselves.
Yep, no doubt. Jihad Campbell leads rookie linebackers in PFF run defense grade. All right, so he's playing great football right now. John, now this is I think where I'm wondering, fans are wondering what's going to happen here. Is this as simple as Jihad Campbell's here, Nakobe Dean ain't coming back on the field, or is Nakobe, who posted up on Instagram, doesn't mean he's going to be right, but let's just use it for now that he's going to be right, returns in week 5. Maybe it's a little later. Whenever Nakobe Dean returns this year, do they put him at the mic and switch up the role for Bond and Campbell? How do you think they play this when all 3 are healthy? When all 3 are healthy, I think you got one of the best linebacker rooms in all of football. I think you might already have one of the better linebacker rooms in football. But when Nakobe comes back, you get a player that was playing really good. We'll see how he plays off that injury. That's a big injury. But how do you think it changes, or is it kind of just, look, Jihad's playing too good, Nakobe's not going to get on the field? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if Jihad keeps playing like this, yeah. Nakobe is SOL, as they say. Yeah, I mean, now a lot of things happen. Somebody might get hurt. Somebody, tons of things can happen. And again, just because a player says it doesn't mean he's going to be back in week 5. Could take longer. If they continue to play the way they're playing, and obviously Zach is, I think we should all, Vic said, stop asking about Morrow. He's a good player. I think people should stop asking even more so about Zach Vaughn and say, was it an anomaly? No, it wasn't. He's damn good.
He's a good player, right?
So he's got, now with a rookie, there's probably going to be some ups and downs, and things can change. But if he continues to play the way he's playing, Jihad, he's not coming off the field. And they're not playing 3 linebackers. That's not the way the modern game is played. And he's not playing edge rusher because Zadarius Smith is here.
Yeah, right.
And Zadarius is a big time edge rusher.
Yeah.
Like, he knows how to play the position.
And Nolan's been good at setting the edge and doing those things. I mean, he's got some work to do as a pass rusher, I think, but Nolan so far looks pretty good as well. I mean, definitely not a liability out there.
No, Nolan looks fine. So they're, the Zadarius Smith makes it less likely that Jihad plays at edge. So unfortunately for Nakobe, now again, a bunch of things can happen. Guys get hurt on the edge. Guys get hurt a linebacker, and you might need them. But I don't think they're taking Jihad Campbell off the field.
No, I don't either. Well, it's going to be interesting because when Nakobe does come back, it does create that question where, I saw somebody put, and the reason I asked is I saw someone post on social media yesterday, man, when Nakobe Dean comes back, this linebacking core is going to be the best in football. And I'm like, are they going to get them all on the field? I don't know how that would work.
Well, the people, I mean, Vic was literally asked that question. And I don't know if people remember.
Chuckled,
laughed. That's not how modern football is played.
I just didn't know. I mean, you do have two versatile type of linebackers in Campbell and Bond.
Look, I said this with Saquon last year in the opposite way. Saquon split out is a day off for an NFL slot cornerback. As good as he is as a receiver, is a day off. for an average NFL receiver, the best coverage linebacker in football is a day off. It is an absolute, you're changing an enormous strength into a mismatch for the other side.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that, but I was thinking only potentially.
Well, defense is a reactionary position. So if the other team is playing 11 person like the Rams, that's all they do. That's all they freaking do. You're not putting 3 stinking linebackers on the field to deal with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Tutu Atwell. Good luck. No matter how good they are. Make a super team and add Fred Warner to the mix of Zach Pawn and Jahad Campbell. Well, they're all so good. Get them on the field. Tutu Atwell will scorch them. I mean, that's why Vic chuckled. I mean, they are not putting 3 off-ball linebackers on the field. Now, they might do it in short yardage. Again, then you'll get people, McMullen said they had him. They might do it in short yards. They might do it 10 times a year in specific circumstances. They are not doing it on a consistent fashion. And he already got that question, and he chuckled. No. They are not doing that.
Well, the only thing I would be thinking is if they put him on the edge or put him in a different type of role. I agree with you.
That's why I said Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
Zadarius Smith shuts that down.
Yeah.
Now Zadarius is 33 years old. You know, maybe he gets hurt. Then you start to have those conversations. At that point, is Jahad Campbell good enough to play edge more? And then you could get 3 of them on the field at the same time. But they're not playing. And that's also what Vic said, because he's people should know because the labeling is a problem with fans and even media, because you might have them on the field at the same time, but one of them's not playing linebacker. One of them's playing edge rusher. Could be Zach Bond as well. He can do it. So Vic, when he was asked the question, and he said, would you ever have 3 on the field at the same time? Before he laughed, his first response was playing linebacker.
Right. And then he chuckled.
And then he got the yes, and then he chuckled. Yeah, that's just not the way the modern game is played. Defensively, you're again reactionary. You have to react to what the offense is doing. If everybody shows up tomorrow with a fullback, the Sam linebacker will be back. But I don't think that's going to happen. And neither does Vic.
Well, we'll see how that position develops. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I guess Nakobe Dean's time in Philly will probably be coming to an end after this season. Unfortunate, but I think that's part of just kind of the way football goes with roster building. John, looking at the Eagles defense right now, boy, that Joshua Uche, and I know it's a smaller sample size, but man, he's graded out like a freaking beast right now, John. Are they maybe they're getting him some more snaps out there to rush the passer? I don't know if they will or not. Now they got Zadarius Smith, but Joshua Uche's had a good start grading wise for this team.
Yeah, he's played very well. But yeah, I would temper that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very small sample size. And he's the 4th edge rusher, and might he get a few more snaps? Sure, but that's part of the reason why he's being so successful is those limited snaps, and he's got the full tank and all the juice. And if you have to be very careful if you increase those snaps, you have diminishing returns. I think that's the Eagles' philosophy with Josh Uche. I think he's in the perfect position as the 4th edge rusher, and he's helping a lot. But they want to keep him at that 4th edge rusher. So, he's playing 20 snaps a game or something like that, and given productive snaps. But, some of the best edge rushers. So, he's played, let's see, what's he played?
35 snaps, I think.
35. And, let's see, put the edge defenders. You get the Max Crosbys of the world. 128. Max is number one. I was just guessing. 128 through 2 games.
Yes,
You know,
way lesser.
Grenard 119, Burns 119, Granderson 115, Thibodeau 114, Karlaftis 109. You got all these guys over 100 that are out there basically, 90% or more of the snaps. That's difficult to keep up, that level of production at with that number of snaps.
Yeah, no doubt about it, John. And then the other guys graded out. The defense is interesting, man. A lot of guys graded out really high on this defense right now. Only 2 games, but definitely something to monitor. You got Uche, who's number 1, as I mentioned. Then you have Jahad Campbell, number 2, Zach Bond, number 3, Nolan Smith, 4, Zadarius Smith, 5, Cooper DeJean, 6, Jordan Davis, 7, and all of them with pretty high grades. So 3 edge rushers, John, in that top of the list, my friend. We were worried about those edge rushers. Nolan Smith's played well. Zadarius Smith has played well. And then we mentioned Uche, obviously gave the context to that one. But Nolan Smith has 96 snaps, so he's got a lot more. He's great.
Oh, yeah. Nolan's got to play a lot, and he's playing well. And Jalen, it's interesting we talked about Campbell. I think the same thing applies with Alex Hunt. Like, people are like, and Vic has said this very early. People say because of his size and he looks like a pass rusher and he's fast and he's so athletic, he's actually a better run defender. So I think it works out for Vic because he can play him on early downs, the young guy, and save some of those bullets for Zadarius Smith in obvious pass rushing situations. So I think that's going to work out. I think that's going to work out well.
Yeah. John, what about Reed Blankenship? He is graded out at the bottom of the list. All right. A 33.9 grade through 2 weeks overall. Not good. Not good so far for Reed yet, Johnny Mac. And he might be betting on himself this year. So I don't know. Reed better pick up his game if he wants to get a contract bigger than he was hoping for.
Yeah. He got blamed for the 2 coverages. Now, the 2 blown coverages. So he had a really bad grade because he got blamed for them. Now, Vic has already said that 1 was a Dory. So they probably got that.
That's where the grading sucks sometimes. They got it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really killed them.
So now the other I thought was Reed's fault, not because Mitchell was the closest to Thornton on the touchdown, but that's because Reed took the cheese underneath and he shouldn't have. I thought that's what happened, and Vic kind of confirmed that. So, 1 was his fault, 1 wasn't his fault, but he got blamed for both. So, it is what it is. There's some, I always say PFF is, once you get into the season, and again, we're doing it now. It's fine. We're doing it now, but this is not into the season. This is very small sample size. Once you get into the season, you'll see the consistency of the grades show up. And generally, when they say somebody's playing well, they're playing well.
Right.
And when they say somebody's playing poorly, they're saying poorly. But you have to wait a little bit longer. But for individual plays, especially in coverage, unless you're in the building, unless you know what Vic called, and thankfully, Vic is more honest than most, so he'll tell us. And he told us, and 1 was a Dory, 1 was Reed, but Reed got blamed for both.
Yeah, good stuff there. Let's go to Super Chat here. JD3, what's up, JD? I'm ready to watch Jared Verse, one of my favorite guys from last season. Like Lane and Jordan better pack a lunch. Wow. Coming at you. Yeah. No, he's had a good year, though, Jared Verse already.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Yeah, Jordan knows. Jordan Mailata knows. He raved about their front. It was actually that Jordan Lane who, because I was like in the playoffs last year, I was like, boy, that was a shitty performance by Minnesota, and everybody was shitting on Sam Darnold, who took, I think, 9 sacks in that game. And I'm like, in Minnesota, their best offensive lineman was hurt. Christian Darrisaw, he was out, and their interior offensive line wasn't good to begin with. And I'm like, shitty offensive line, quarterback panics. And then I got to the Jordan and Lane, and they're like, these guys are freaking good, man. And they are good. And, it's not only Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, and he's a little bit banged up, so hopefully that hurts. Kobe Turner is a big-time player. Big-time player. Byron Young, Jared Verse is outside linebacker. Byron Young's more of an off-ball linebacker, but he can rush the passer. They're good up front.
Yeah, they are.
Now, but they're undersized. Now, they added Poona Ford, and that was the thing. The Eagles got him. They couldn't stop the run. But as a pass rushing group, they are freaking a pain in the ass. And when the Eagles tackles tell you that, you listen to them.
Yep. That Braden Fisk, keep an eye on him because if he can't go this weekend, he only played 13 snaps last week, got injured in pregame of last week. So we'll see if he can go this week. But he is one of their good interior pass rushers as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. Appreciate everybody for being here this morning. JD, thanks for the super chats, brother. Thanks everybody as well. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, all right, we have Caden Steele in hour number 2. And I also want to start to look at this Rams-Eagles game a little bit closer too, get some of John's keys to the game, and we'll have a full Football Friday deep dive into the game tomorrow as well. So appreciate everybody for being here. Hit that like button. We'll be right back on Birds 365.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Thursday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. 10 minutes out from getting Caden Steele up on the show. We'll talk to Caden in a little bit, get his takeaways from the first 2 games for the Birds and what he's looking at coming up this week in week 3. John, I want to get what you're looking at coming up this week in week number 3, Eagles versus Rams, the game within the game, John. What are some of the matchups you think are key in this game? Maybe an advantage for the Rams. Where do they have it? Where's the advantage for the Eagles, the biggest advantage there? What do you think, John, coming into this week 3 matchup?
Yeah, I think the same advantage as last year or this year for the Eagles, and that's Nate Landman might be a heck of a lot better than Christian Roseboom, but again, I said it pretty consistently. He's not exactly Ray Lewis, so I'm not sure they're equipped. And Puna Ford will help a little bit on the front, but they're still undersized as a whole. When I talk about all those players, the one thing, Verse is great, Fisk is great. If he's healthy, he's probably not going to be healthy. Turner's great, but they're all undersized, so that helps the Eagles' offensive line in the run game. And the Rams haven't exactly proven to be able to corral Saquon Barkley on the back end of their defense. So that remains a big advantage. AJ Brown, I'll tell you what, AJ Brown, I thought he ruined Emmanuel Forbes' career. Just tortured that poor kid when he was in Washington, and he's back playing for the Rams. I'm sure he's not happy. But, let's try to get AJ Brown the ball, I would say.
Yeah, right. Perfect game to get him going, man. Come on.
But they tried to get him going last week. I mean, they did try. First play, shot play, it was there. You miss a block. That's how, not like they didn't try. But
maybe don't make your shot play to AJ rely on a block from Grant Calcaterra, who, with all due respect,
well, that's fair. That's fair. But that's the point of the Ultimate Team Game quotes from Nick Sirianni. Everybody's got to do their job, and his job is not to stone somebody, but just to chip them and slow them down. And he didn't do it. Sometimes he will do it. Sometimes he won't do it. And that's the razor thin margin of error in the NFL. But those are some of the obvious advantages for the Eagles. The obvious advantage for the Rams will be, Matthew Stafford, him throwing the football to Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittingham. That if they can pass protect, they should be able to do some things against Adoree Jackson, most notably. As you mentioned, Reed has not hit the ground running. Makuba, everybody's excited about Makuba, but you notice, Vic has said both weeks now, a couple blown coverages in there as well.
Well, he's learning. I mean, I think it's positive on Makuba so far. It's obviously not perfect.
Oh, it's very positive, but I just point out that Vic is the one saying it. So,
right. There's some kinks still in the armor there,
And then you got Sean McVay coming in with all the condensed looks and all the Puka releasing through the line and it's going to be a lot for specifically Jahad Campbell and Drew Makuba's rookie players. It's going to be a lot this game. And I'm sure Sean McVay is going to try to take advantage of their lack of experience, and we'll see how the Eagles handle it. But that to me, and that then turns toward the Eagles' defensive front against the Rams' offensive line, which I think should be an advantage for the Eagles.
Yep.
And it has to be, because they have to get Matthew Stafford off his spots.
Yep.
Because if he's back there comfortable, I think the Eagles would be in trouble. But I don't think he'll be back there comfortable.
Me neither. We had Jackie Slater on yesterday, John, in the afternoon show, Pro Football Hall of Famer. He's on the Rams broadcast team. That's basically what he said. He said, look, if this Eagles defensive line is getting pressure, it's going to be a tough one for the Rams, because they thrive on giving Matthew time, and he'll pick apart any defense. But if they can get pressure, that's going to be tough for the Rams to manage, because obviously Stafford's not the most mobile quarterback in the world. But that will be the game right there, the game within the game. I think you're right, John, about the Eagles defensive line. And then that Rams defensive line is pretty good as well, obviously. It's always the trenches. The trenches are always the most important part of any football game. But the Rams have a pretty good trenches. They got a good defensive line, too. I like their defensive line.
Yeah, it's like I said. But, it's great as a pass rushing defensive line. It's not great as a run stopping defensive line. And I'm sure they've gotten better with Puna.
The Eagles don't have the same running game right now, John. And I think you can.
No, they haven't. Yeah. But this is, the guy had 4 what was it, 60 or 70-yard touchdowns
Yeah.
against this team.
Different team, though, man. Different offensive line. The offensive line's not playing as good as they were in those games right now. I mean, with the injuries to Dickerson, with Juergens coming off the back surgery, I don't know if he's been the same. Tyler Steen in there. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's obviously still a big thing, but the Eagles have not run the ball like they were at all last year,
No, but that's also, I mean, they had games where they weren't effective, and then they got to the Rams and they were really effective. There are certain teams where, styles make fights, and last year it was even worse because, and again, things change. I point that out all the time. That's why they're the reigning Super Bowl champions, not the defending Super Bowl champions. And they've gotten Poona Ford and they've gotten Nate Landman. And they did that because of what happened against the Eagles. But this team doesn't strike me as a great run defense team still, the Rams. And through that small sample size, they're dead middle of the league, which is probably all they want. But that might not be good enough against the Eagles.
I think they got their own Byron Young over there, don't they?
Yeah,
there's two Byron Youngs, right?
I hate to break it to you.
Their Byron Young's better. They got a better Byron Young.
I like Byron Young here. I like the Eagles Byron. He's a good dude. I think he's underrated. I think he's, the fourth man in that rotation, clearly on the interior. He's a good player, but their Byron Young is a really good player.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their Byron Young's a little bit better. That's okay though.
No, yeah, no doubt. He's definitely a good player though. They're Byron. I knew there was two of them, and I think they're both SEC guys. If I'm not mistaken, theirs is Tennessee. I know ours is obviously Alabama.
By the way, he's a Tennessee guy. Their Byron Young is their number one graded defender through 2 games. 9 pressures, 3 sacks.
Yeah, good pass.
5 hurries.
Big pass rush grade, I think, for Byron Young over there.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player.
Yep, no doubt about it. Good stuff there. So we'll continue to break this down. We'll have a great football Friday tomorrow as well, diving into the games within the game. All right, and we'll do all that. Week 3 now here. Eagles are 2-0. Rams are 2-0 as well, right? Yep, Rams are 2-0. So they've had 2 lesser opponents. I think they've played the Titans and who was their first game? Texans and Titans. So not best opposition, but neither.
I don't think they've either had the best of opposition.
Yeah, no, neither team has. So,
but people think the Chiefs are still good. We'll see what Caden thinks.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's go to Caden right now. He joins us here. Caden Steele set to join us on Birds 365 this morning. Let's bring him up here right now. You can read him at nj.com. Follow him at Caden Steele. What's going on, Caden? How you doing on this Thursday morning, brother?
Doing well. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Good to see you, bud. What did you think of that Chiefs team? I was not impressed. It's a different, obviously. Now, we might be having a different conversation if Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are out there. But that team that was out there on Sunday, what did you think of that group?
Not very good. I mean, I don't want to be the person to write them off and look silly, 3 months from now.
Hey, we got to do that. I'm doing it. They're not good. They might be good.
Yeah.
They might be good. When they get those guys back, they might be I wouldn't say they're going to be a great team, but they could be like fighting for that last playoff spot or something like that. But the team that was out there Sunday, that team was not good.
No, I mean, the personnel, even on defense, is not particularly good. In their secondary, you can only really say that Trent McDuffie is a really good player. Everyone else is like average to below average. I mean, they lost Justin Reed in free agency. The defensive line has no real pass rush other than Chris Jones. They have okay linebackers. I mean, that's not really a good roster. I mean, it wasn't really a good roster last year, but I mean, they have had Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and I feel like they've been carried a little bit. Maybe it's catching up now, and especially with the injuries at wide receiver that they've had. And it's 2 guys that, Worthy is a slimmer build, so you wonder how his body's going to hold up throughout his career. I mean, the Chiefs aren't built that well for the next few years. So a drop-off is possible. But you never know. It's hard to count on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
And Mahomes, yeah. Kaden, what do you think of the Eagles through 2 games? We got the Rams coming up. Going to be a good test, probably the best test of the year so far. What do you make of them through 2 games so far? I think the defense, Kaden, in my opinion, looks pretty good. I mean, Kaden, you were on here all summer long. That's one thing we talked about all summer, man, the changes on defense. I think they look pretty good so far, and a lot of conversation, obviously, about the offense, the passing game, and the stagnant passing game that is. So what's your thoughts on the Birds through 2 games right now and where they stand?
I mean, they've been some ugly ones, but ultimately they won. So, I mean, that's what matters. But I think there is some concerns on offense with the passing game. I'm not someone who's panicking about it yet. I mean, it's only 2 weeks. I mean, they've been sluggish before. I know it particularly looks bad right now, but I think eventually they could figure it out. But, I mean, this is a good week to find out, right? I think the Rams can spread the ball, especially with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. And if they can get that passing game going, it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles have to match it in any regard. If the Rams are able to slow Saquon more than they were able to do last year and the Eagles had to pass more, I'm curious how it looks. They were without Dallas Goedert against the Chiefs, and maybe that affected a little bit. But, yeah, I think it's not been the best of start for Kevin Patullo. So I'm worried about the offense a little bit. Obviously, I still believe in the personnel. So, I mean, you would expect things to come around eventually. Defensively, yeah, it's been pretty good. I think Adoree Jackson's still a little bit of a concern. I know he played better against the Chiefs, but John just mentioned, I mean, this is a team without Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. I mean, you're going to go against Juju and Tyquan Thornton and guys of, that regard. So I'm not willing to say the Adoree Jackson problem is over yet. And we'll find out more this week against the Rams, who have a better wide receiver core, how that looks. But, I mean, the linebackers have been fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, Jahad Campbell, Zach Bonnie make it argued could be the best duo in football. They have one of the best interior defensive lines in football, Mora Jomo, a better version of Jordan Davis. And, I mean, Jalen Carter, you would think eventually, rounds back to form into an all-pro player. I feel really good. I mean, Makuba had a really good game at safety, so you feel good about safety. Overall, your defensive lines, Zadarius Smith and Josh Uche, you start to feel a little better about your edge rush depth than I did, in the summer when we talked about it. So I feel good about the defense, a little worried about the offense. But overall, I still think it's a pretty good team.
What'd you think of Vic dropping the bomb that Jalen Carter doesn't have the best conditioning right now? Because I think everybody's where you are. We're all assuming he's going to play at an all-pro level. Why wouldn't he play at an all-pro? He's an all-pro talent, but we're not off to a good start when it comes to playing at an all-pro level. Now, part of it is self-inflicted, but it wasn't a world beater in Kansas City, I would say. And it looked like he was dealing with some things and was back on the injury report with a shoulder, which has been an issue since camp. And no worries whatsoever about Jalen Carter?
I think there's a good chance that the season starts out really slow. I mean, especially with everything that's happened that you just pointed out, that the shoulder's bothering him. I mean, you could see it in the game with his arm, like his arm.
He kept holding it, kept grabbing onto it.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned the fact that he missed some time in training camp, and then he obviously missed game reps in week 1. I mean, if you told me by like mid-year that Jalen Carter is not living up to the expectations that I had for him, I mean, I think that's really fair because, I mean, he kind of lost it in week 1, but I really did think this was a year that he could be a defensive player of the year candidate. But, I mean, spitting on Dak starting out week 1, that probably already removed him from the conversation for people that watch him on national television. But now he's missing more time. I still believe he is, I mean, behind Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence, and you make an argument he's more talented.
I think he is, but yeah. I don't question the talent at all. But the fitness level, I thought that was an issue. So I probably talked to you at camp about that. I didn't think he was in great shape, at least from and Vic kind of confirmed that.
Yeah. And last year he was in great shape. I mean, that was the difference.
Well, he saved the season against the Rams. The Rams are coming in. Think about those 2 pass rushes. It was like play 66 and play 67.
Yeah.
And he's, good enough to generate that pass rush that late in the game. That's where they want him to be. I don't think he's there right now.
No. But if he can get there by the end of the season and the team's in playoff contention, that's ultimately what matters. And I think that's still possible. But you're talking about personal aspirations for Jalen Carter. If he wanted to be a defensive player of the year candidate this year and a definite pro, he's probably ruined his chances of that, which or maybe it's a little too early to say that, but it's not off to a good start. I mean, still believe in the player though, fully. It'll be interesting. I mean, over the next month, I think we'll be able to tell what season he's going to have.
And I think the defense as a whole, to your point. Now, the Rams, this is a change in. So I'll frame it this way: the offensive problems. They're so conservative, Caden. They're so conservative. Does the personality of the game fix that? Like if the Rams pass protect and Matthew Stafford has time, they're going to score some points. Even with Vic Fangio, even with this defense that everybody's hyped on, they will score some points. Does that just take care of it? Because you have to get out of your conservative shell and you have to sort of get into the personality of the game, whether it turns into a shootout or not. It might be 28-22 again, whatever. But you're going to have to do more offensively. Will the personality of the game just help that?
I think in some regards, yes. I mean, because you're not going to be able to win a game against the Rams if they're putting up points. If you're playing or if you're having the same strategy that you've had the last 2 weeks about just not turning over the ball. I mean, they didn't turn over the ball at the end of last year, and they were pretty overall. I mean, even the offense last year was pretty conservative for the most part, but they were more explosive than they are currently. I think it could fix it. I think it's just more of a concern. I mean, obviously Dan Orlovsky and Chad Johnson and guys like that know more about passing offense than I do because they're former quarterbacks and wide receivers. But the fact that they're pointing out that AJ Brown's running 10 routes of the same route from the same alignment and how predictable this offense is, I'm more concerned.
Are they setting everybody up?
Yeah. That's the thing. Oh, and the condensed sets that haven't been working. The whole idea is that it's eventually going to lead to a big play, but
you're going to see a shitload of condensed sets from Sean McVay. Everybody loves Sean McVay. I think this play calling nonsense is exactly that. I'm like, nobody judges play calls. They judge play results. Yeah. Like everybody would have been thrilled if Grant Calcaterra could block and AJ's running down the field wide open on the opening play. So they're saying, well, the ball didn't come out. It's bad. But no, the guy missed the block.
Yeah. And you're not wrong. But I do feel like other than that play and maybe a few, I mean, I know they had the big one to Devontae on where they picked up the blitz finally. I feel like they could have still been a little more aggressive. Like that was the shot they tried to draw.
We're not talking about Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster as our wide receivers. We got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, I think we've reduced it too far. I understand they don't want to turn the ball over, but come on, man. You got 2 top 10 receivers. You got to get those guys involved in the game plan early and often, and they don't seem to want to do it.
I agree with that. I mean, yeah. I mean, in the run game, I think Saquon's looked really good this year, but I mean, it's not like the run game so far has been as effective as it was last year. I don't think they're running the ball as well or blocking it up as well.
Oh, I think it's all connected. Do you think they're all connected? I mean, I think Saquon's down from 5.5 last year to 3.7 yards per carry this year, which is a pretty significant drop, considering how good he was last year. Now, I think that's some to do with the offensive line, who hasn't been as good this year. I know we always call them the best O-line in football. They haven't played like the best O-line in football right now. But I also think the lack of threat in the passing game is making it easier for defenses to take away the running game or focus more on the running game. I mean, Nick said it yesterday. Nick doesn't say much in his press conferences ever, but he did say yesterday, most defensive coaches, the first thing they want to do is take away the run, right? It's the first thing defensive coaches think about. So I think they got to get that passing game going to be able to, to get the running game back to where they want it to be.
Yeah. And Nick said after the game, I mean, his perspective is they have been efficient. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, Jalen Hurts has been completing a high percentage of his passes, but they do have to be more explosive. I mean, it's hard to win in the NFL when your offense is not consistently a threat. And they obviously have the personnel to do it. And I'm not writing off Kevin Petula. I think it's too early, but I mean, the first 2 games, it's been sluggish for the most part in terms of at least when it comes to making explosive plays. Maybe it's part of their philosophies. They're so worried about turning over the ball that they rather be conservative. I'd rather take the risk of turning over the ball to get this offense going.
Me too. That's what I was saying. Like, it's almost like reduced down to
You're going to
don't
be
turn it over.
banned. You're going to be banned from the NovaCare complex, Caden, with that kind of talk.
I mean, I feel like you can increase your margin enough with these players, though, to be able to live with a couple more turnovers. I mean,
especially if you believe in your defense, the way that you should believe in your defense, you should be a little more aggressive. I mean, I look at Green Bay, for instance. I mean, like I don't think Jordan Love's better than Jalen Hurts necessarily, but like I mean, that's a team that's aggressive. And
too aggressive, I would argue.
Yeah,
all they do is throw it down the field.
Maybe not that much, but just
by the way, to your point, Jalen Hurts 75.6 completion percentage, which is ludicrous, but from the standpoint, all they do is dump it off. Everything's underneath. But that was what training camp was as well. It's an interesting disconnect. Now, what did you think? I don't think you were there for Jalen yesterday, but I'm sure you saw the transcript. He came out hot. He was like he wanted to get something off his chest. Yeah, I've been around Jalen since day one. So what is this? 6-year? Dude's very intentional, as I describe it.
Yeah.
And he wanted to talk about this passing offense and the narrative. And he took accountability and all the good stuff that everybody talks about. I think his buzzword was synchronization. There's not enough synchronization going on. So I think people hate when you say, well, it's part Kevin Patullo, but it's also part Jalen Hurts. It's part the offensive line. It's part this. It's all it, but it is. It's all. But if you had to rank the biggest issue, where would you rank the biggest issue?
It's hard not to go Kevin Patullo number one, because if you look at the offense, I mean, the biggest change is him. He's the most glaring difference from last year. I mean, I know he was there, but I mean, it's a team that has 10 out of 11 offensive stars. And I think Jalen Hurts has played well. I thought he played really well in that Cowboys game. I know the numbers didn't say so.
So do I. I said the same thing.
I don't know if he played as well against Kansas City, but I don't think he played terrible. I wouldn't put Jalen Hurts as like I still think he's a pretty good quarterback. Offensive line, I agree with Zander. It's been a little down this year. But I still probably wouldn't rank them number one. I mean, and it's hard to, like, I don't think AJ and Devontae are getting consistently open, but I don't think it's because of them. I mean, I don't believe all of a sudden AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are suddenly less dangerous as players out of nowhere after a year.
Some people said AJ's not healthy. No, AJ denies that. But you've seen him.
Yeah, I think he looked. I thought he looked better against Kansas City than he did against Dallas in terms of like being explosive. It's hard. I mean,
he was open on that burst play. I know that.
Yeah, he was. And maybe the players are underperforming, but it's hard for me to believe all these different guys have started to to regress all of a sudden when there's a new play.
Well, you brought up Orlovsky and I think Ryan Clark before, or who Chad
Johnson. Yeah, he was pointing out on Twitter that
this is the same offense as last year's offense.
Yeah.
Like, have they cut out all these routes that they ran under Kellen Moore? It's the same damn thing.
Well, their average target, I mean, is way lower this year. Now, it's only 2 games. So it's a really small sample size, John. But they're not pushing it the same way they were. Like even last year when they were taking the shots. They got man-on-man coverage, go route. I mean, John, you almost joked to the point where it was
but that's what I'm saying, because one of my great predictions was the Super Bowl. But why did I make that prediction? I made that prediction because they're so shitty at doing everything else on the blitz. So I said, just run go routes. And they did. And I got that one right. This mentality of they were always doing that's conflated. No, it ended well, so everybody forgets all the difficult times. That, in other words, they're having the Carolina and Baltimore game in weeks 1 and 2. These games existed last year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. It's not just being explosive. I mean, I was looking. I mean, look at the the throw chart. I mean, this is an offense that right now, I mean, this has happened before too, but they're not targeting the middle of the field. I mean, part of that against Kansas City, Might have been with Goddard being out. I mean, Goddard was valuable in the
Week
Dallas
one
game.
they did, but it wasn't anything explosive. It was just a couple. Yeah, it was just.
Well, you know what they never throw? They never throw the immediate, intermediate route over the middle. Never, 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 never. And that tells me, and that's Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, Kellen Moore, Kevin Petullo. They're building around the quarterback's not comfortable with that throw. They don't throw it. They haven't thrown it. They're not going to throw it. Now you'll see, you'll see the occasional dig route.
Shouldn't there be a desire though to develop said quarterback? I mean, I know Jalen's 27, but Tom Brady was getting better at 40 years old. I mean, it's almost like they think he's a
I forget.
John, you put up that Brady clip though from last week on Coward, and he's talking about development of quarterbacks. I know Jalen's an established veteran quarterback, but that doesn't mean you should stop trying to get him better.
I think he's gotten developed a lot. I think he's gotten.
I know, but he can't throw over the middle. Okay, so never throw over the middle.
No, he's not comfortable throwing over the middle. So, they've completed dig routes, not a lot. Nothing's out of the order, but somebody brought up, and I wish to give him credit. We've talked about this and more last year with Mekhi Becton, who was just so ridiculously oversized from a height standpoint to play guard. And I remember asking, is that a problem to Jalen? And he said, basically, yeah, it's a thing. He said it's a thing. He didn't say it's a problem. You got a 6'6" guy, a 6'8" guy. Last year with Mekhi, 6'7", 6'8". Landon 6'6". He's not the big 6'5" quarterback that can see over everything. I think that sensibly, and I wish I could give him credit, said that's probably why he has a little bit of a difficult time seeing things over the middle of the field, which I thought was a good thought. Maybe it's as simple as that. You're looking through trees. It's not as comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at someone like Russell Wilson, I mean, he was never the best at throwing over the middle of the field. I mean, kind of very similar skill set to Jalen in the sense that he has a great deep ball, and I mean, that is a huge strength of his game, especially when he was in his prime, and his mobility and his plays to make, the right runs and plays off script. But he was never a guy that, sat in the pocket and was hitting those intermediate throws across the middle consistently. I mean, still not that player, even at this age in his career. And he's a shorter quarterback. I think I could be wrong, but I think Jalen's a little bigger than Ross. But I mean, it's not like Jalen.
He's like 6'1", Jalen. He's not the tallest guy. There's no doubt. I mean, yeah.
No, I think they list him at 6'2", but I think he's more of 6'1". I think they're no, they list him at 6'1". So there you go. Yeah, he's not. We're talking about Justin Herbert. He ain't Justin Herbert, who can see over everything. So I think there's something to that. He thought. I haven't thought about it as much this year because Mekhi's gone, but Tyler Steen's 6'5". He was a tackle in college.
Yeah,
he's not a small guy from a height standpoint either. So, maybe it's as simple as that. I just throw that out there, but I don't see the route concept. Look, they're a very simple team. It's a simple offense. I'm not saying it's Sean McVay. I'm not saying they're releasing guys through the B gap. I'm not, they're not, that's not what they do, but I don't think that's changed. I don't think it's scaled back from last season at all as far as the route tree of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Do you think it's scaled back? That's sort of the question.
I don't know about like the scheme itself. I mean, because you make a valid point. I mean, I think Kellen was a little better at like using motion and like being a little more creative than Kevin. But I mean, this is an offense, and Brian Johnson as well, where even at times with Shane, but like they haven't been the most creative offense ever. I mean, I do think and maybe it's just an eye test thing so far. I think they're just playing more conservative for whatever reason that is. I don't know if it's
the straight jacket, Caden. It's back. Yeah. The straight jacket's back, and it's bigger and stronger than ever before. I'm with you. It looks like they've gone to the next level of trying to be protective of the football. And I'm like, for what? You don't have shitty players.
No.
Get them involved. I don't understand it. I'm sorry. I really don't understand it.
I mean, for all, but I will say, I mean, I'm not defending them. For all we've talked about this offense and going back to last year, I mean, people, it's easy to forget that they struggled last year because they won the Super Bowl. But I mean, there was that point in December where we're talking about whether Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, do they get along because of the Brandon Graham comment? I mean, this is dating back to like when we thought going into the playoffs last year that the passing offense would be the reason that this team that had Saquon and this great defense would fall short. Ultimately, they overcame that. But it's a reality now that this passing offense, if we're just taking the grand scheme of last year, wasn't very good last year. And they're not very good again this year. And when it comes to being conservative, I mean, the only thing maybe they can think to themselves is with the lack of turnovers. This is this for as the problems they've had on offense in terms of just being creative and being explosive since the beginning of last year. This is a team that hasn't lost with Jalen Hurts since week 4 of last year by playing this conservative, protect the football, run it with Saquon Barkley.
I think it's as simple as that, man. The 39-8 over this stretch, 18 of 19, 39 takeaways, 8 giveaways.
It's a winning formula.
Difference though with last year. I mean, and I get it, it's a way bigger sample size, and now it's hindsight's 2020, so you can look back. But when Saquon, the very few instances where Saquon wasn't dominating last year, they were able to pass. Like they, as much as we talked about it, when they needed it, they did it. They proved it. Okay, we can do it. Doesn't mean they were great every week. There was games they could have been better and probably increased their margin in those games. But
why do you think that's not going to happen this year?
Well, because Saquon's already been held to 3.7 yards per carry. I mean, he hits 50 yards versus Dallas. If it wasn't
what I'm trying to say is they've had these games last year, but you have the knowledge that they also had the other games, but they had these games. Like they were every bit as bad passing the football, and I would argue even worse, probably the low.
Yeah, but Saquon was better in those games, right?
Well, they're. The assumption, obviously, Saquon had a historic season, but he had games where it wasn't all the Rams. Like against the Rams, he had 500 yards and 4 60-yard touchdowns or whatever it was. But the Carolina game was probably the low point. That's where everybody was talking about it. That was the worst win ever. Leggett drops the ball. You're like, oh my God, we won a game because Leggett dropped a football and they threw for 108 yards and they were under 100 yards net passing. And everybody, that was the passing game. What's wrong? Passing. That was the AJ passing game. And Caden was there. Jordan Mailata said it. Jalen Hurts said it. Nick Sirianni, everybody said it. Devontae Smith said it.
Yeah.
These games existed. The difference is you saw Pittsburgh and you saw the playoffs. Even in the playoffs, they had 131 yards passing against Green Bay. And then the next week, they had 128 yards against the Rams.
Yeah, but Saquon that's my point though, John. Saquon had good games in those games. So in the first 2 weeks, Saquon hasn't had the best games because they're not. I don't think there's a very versatile offense. Everybody knows all they have to do is take away him. And with Saquon being lessened, they still haven't been able to throw the football.
Well, yeah, but they're still, they're still loading the box. That hasn't changed that much. I think, one of the things our special seasons are special seasons. And I've said it from the start that look, even though Saquon, and I think he's looked fine, he's not going to have last season this season. No. It's just not possible.
No, I'm not expecting him to.
But I'm pointing it out. I think Saquon had 22 for 95 against Atlanta. Like, what do you have in this game? 22 for 88?
Yeah.
Against Cleveland, 18 for 47. Against Dallas, 14 for 66. Against Pittsburgh, 19 for 65. That was the big passing game. So he wasn't 150 every single week.
Yeah, right.
But I do think it's fair, and that's part of the problem, and that's why I think the Eagles' offense needs to evolve. You can't count on him having 2,504 yards
Right.
through the Super Bowl again.
I agree.
And that part of it is why it needs to evolve. They don't seem hell-bent. I think that's the biggest criticism from me. They don't seem hell-bent on evolving. They seem hell-bent on not turning the football over.
Yeah.
And if we don't turn the football over, we're going to win. That, to me, is all they think about.
Reduce. How much more can we fucking reduce until we're rubble? I don't understand it.
I don't think they're going to be rubble, but I get the frustration, but I don't know.
AJ said it after the game, and he was saying, like, he understands to a sense why people bring it up, and I'm just paraphrasing a little bit. You're like wondering if the way they play in terms of this, run, protect the football, not too explosive down the field, is that sustainable as a passing offense? He said, it's fair. I mean, that was his comment. He said, ultimately they have to worry about, finding different ways to win. But like, just because they were able to do it last year, just because they were able to do it in 2 games this year, doesn't mean it's going to last forever. I mean, this style eventually will catch up. And like John said, that's why you have to evolve. I mean, you look at this. I mean, Travis Kelce doesn't drop that pass and falls right into Andrew Makuba's hands. And if CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop those balls in the second half, the conversation in Philadelphia is very different right now. They're 0-2, and people are going crazy about Kevin, even more than they already are about Kevin Patullo.
Right.
This is an 0-2 team going in against the Rams. And I get people say, they won. But they're not winning these games convincingly. I mean,
that's why I don't like what they've done, because I think you're good enough to increase that margin.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know if you don't turn it over, you win most games. You're right. The numbers bear them to be correct, but I don't think we have to live like that. I don't think we have to live on the edge. I think we're a good enough team to increase that, to not have to worry about, okay, CD dropped the pass, so we're good. Or Travis Kelce, bounced it into Makuba's hands, so we're good. You got AJ and Devontae. Get them involved. We probably won't even be worried about Travis Kelce dropping a pass if you got those guys involved. I don't know. Maybe I'm pushing too early. 2 weeks, I get it, but
no,
I don't know. I don't
think
like
it's a legitimate concern. If they think they can continue to win the way they have last year, I mean, the NFL is about evolving and changing. And then, like John said, I mean, Saquon's not going to have the year that he had last year, and this is an offense that, when it had to last year, it did respond. It did, but like I feel like it also shouldn't be something where they, when they have to, they'll respond occasionally. Like, this is an offense that should be capable of doing this every week based off the personnel that they have. And I don't know if they will. I mean, is that Kevin Patullo? Is that Jalen Hurts? I mean, I guess we'll find out more throughout the season. But
who do you put it more on?
I think Kevin Patullo. I mean, early.
KP, come on.
It's hard to point. I mean, I believe
feel free.
Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback.
He is a good quarterback, but he's a unique quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not a high volume quarterback, and I think people want him to be a high volume quarterback. He's not a high volume passer.
Yeah.
So I think that's what, and I think every single one of them deserves credit. And I'm talking about Nick and Shane and Brian and Kellen and up to KP. Every single one of them deserves credit for building an offense around a very, very unique quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that's missed. Like the assumption that, well, he did it against Kansas City, he did it against Washington, he did it against Pittsburgh. Why can't he do it every week? Well, he can't do it every week because he's not Joe Burrow. He's not Justin Herbert. He's not that high volume.
Yeah, but isn't that a difference right now? Again, it's only 2 weeks, so I don't think we can crush Patullo. But John, doesn't that kind of highlight? Okay, when Saquon wasn't what he was, or when he didn't have those games, at the least, Kellen had plays in the offense. Kellen had a design in the offense to make them pay. All right, you're going to take away Saquon. Fine, we're going to make you pay. How'd it work out, Steve Spags? Right now, it doesn't feel like they have that. Now it's too early. I get it.
Boy,
but
I don't want to. I think people overrate Kellen Moore's performance here because they won the Super Bowl and he got a head coaching job.
Yeah.
What were they ranked last year in passing offense?
No, it wasn't pretty. But when they needed it, shit, it was there, and they made them pay. So
yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, like I said, I think Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. But if you were talking to me mid-season last year, I mean, it wasn't consistently playing well last year. If we're being honest with ourselves, and I'm wondering, even for me, as you know, as a reporter, am I letting that last memory or two stick in my mind as like the thing that Jalen Hurts is versus the big picture of, since 2023. I mean, 2022, I think he was a lot more prolific as a passer. I mean, he was an all-pro, but I mean, the last 2 years, the passing offense hasn't been consistent with Brian Johnson, even with Kellen Moore at times, now with Kevin Patullo. Am I letting that last memory of what Jalen Hurts, or those occasional memories, clog my memory of the reality of what this passing offense has looked like, for the last 2 years? And maybe I am. Maybe I'm letting that last memory.
Well, I do. If you go back to week 4, and I go back to week 4 because that's when the Eagles scaled it back. So if you go back to week 4 and then you have the bye week and then you come out in Cleveland. So you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 regular season games. Now he didn't play the last 2. So we'll say, and I won't even count the Washington game because he only played 6 minutes. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus 4 playoffs games, 14. So 14 games, and the Eagles won all 14 of them when obviously Jalen started and finished. So if I ask you guys off the top of your head, how many times did Jalen Hurts throw for 250 yards? Not 300, 250. Give me a number.
2 or 3.
Just those 14 games.
I'll go 3.
2.
The number is 2. By the way, and for all the talk about Washington and Kansas City, 246 against Washington, 221 against Kansas City in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was about that defensive front. Washington was about just obliterating them, partially in the run game as well. Like this is just conflated by the success that they were throwing the ball over. They threw the ball all over the lot successfully in one game.
But they had the
Pittsburgh.
They had the splash plays though, to make the teams pay. You're right. It wasn't. I mean, even in Kansas City, 220 yards, nothing crazy, but they had the big plays. All right, take away Saquon, boom, the dagger is born. You know what I mean? Like I don't see that right now.
Well, they already had a big throw to John and a big throw to Devontae down the field. They've had 3 explosive plays, but those are 2 of them. He's a great deep ball thrower.
Yeah.
And even the Devontae, that was more of a, he got hit late. That wasn't a great throw, but, it was 50-50 ball. Devontae came down with it. The Jahan Dotson was a great throw.
That was a great throw. And for that reason, I mean, if that is the truth of Jalen Hurts' career, is that he's not good throwing over the middle and he's not the most traditional prolific passer, but he's great with his legs, so he can make you pay in that guard and he can hit you deep consistently, and he's got a great deep ball. I mean, I mean, I'm not the offense coordinator. I'm not Kevin Patullo. It's not up to me, but like I'm taking advantage of that as much as possible, and I'm being aggressive and I'm pushing the envelope because I have a quarterback that has a good deep ball, and I'm embracing that more instead of being conservative still. Like I think for what
in those first 4 games, the answer is also 2. He threw for 278 against Green Bay. He threw for 311 against New Orleans. And they weren't as successful. So I think that's the Eagles' mindset. I think that's where it stems from, because he turned it over too much. And by the way, I think it was unfair, but he turned it over too much in those games.
Yeah, but it's been a year since then. You're telling me that you can't trust him to throw at a little more volume or be a little more aggressive without turning over the ball? Like
that's where I say I don't think he's a volume quarterback. I don't think he's a volume. I don't think that's the strength of his game. The strength of his game is what you saw in Dallas in week 1. He's relentless.
Yeah. As
Vic called Matthew Stafford an all-day sucker. Yes, he's an all-day sucker. You got to play him for 60 minutes. You do everything right on 3rd and 8, and he extends the play and he gets a first down. Like, that's backbreaking for a defense.
Yeah. And even in the Super Bowl, I mean, Steve Spagnuolo talked about it, I think,
Yeah.
after. I mean, some of those runs in the middle of the field where he's picking up is things that you cannot account for. You can have perfect coverage,
Yeah.
be disciplined in your rush, and he just breaks you. So, all in all, I think he is a very good quarterback. But to Zander's point earlier, I'm wondering if there's still more to get out of Jalen Hurts. I feel like there's still maybe
There's always hope to improve.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just feels like it's almost like, okay, Jalen is what he is. Like, let's not even like try and build on who he is. Let's not even try and improve some of the things he's weak at. Like, he's 27 years old. If this guy's going to be your quarterback for the next 10 years, I wouldn't be throwing in the towel on evolution. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Even if you have a Hall of Fame running back, even if you have a Hall of Fame offensive line, I would be building more things into the game to evolve him. He might not ever get to the level that, you're talking about with high volume passers, but I think Jalen Hurts is capable of more than they're asking him to do. I do. I really do.
Well, I don't. Everybody's got to improve, and he's continually improved. But from their standpoint, they've decided to scale back on the volume part of it. There's no doubt about that. They can say whatever they want, but their actions speak louder than their words. But I do think people have to start to embrace his uniqueness as a player more than just pick up the game book and look at the black and white stats and say, like Chris Jones, well, you didn't throw for this. Well, who won the game? And, he's a big part of it. He's always a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's hard to forget. I mean, I've already brought it up, but you made the point again, John. I mean, he was credible in that Dallas game. The stats didn't look it. But he was efficient. He made huge plays with his legs. If he could be like that consistently, which I think he can be, it's good. But I mean, I still think there needs to be more explosive plays, and maybe that comes. I mean, obviously Nick brought it up, so obviously they know that.
It'll, and I think it is coming. I think the problem is the Baltimore and Carolina games came in week 1 and week 2, so you haven't seen the Pittsburgh games yet. The Pittsburgh game might be coming this weekend.
It probably needs to come this weekend if the Rams are able to put up some points. And I think if it doesn't come this weekend and they're sluggish and they lose to the Rams because Matthew Stafford, let's say throws for 290 yards, 300 yards, and it's a high-scoring game, the Eagles can't keep up because they can't figure out the passing game, then I think next week's conversation is a little more worrisome than it is right now.
Fair
Caden,
point.
Yeah. Caden, good stuff, brother. Sorry we kept you long, brother. Week 3 game, Eagles-Rams. Got to give me a pick. Who's your pick, brother?
I think they lose this weekend.
Whoa.
Look, this is a difficult schedule, and I get it. I mean, they're going to have to lose some games eventually. They play Rams twice. And I'm not a big believer. I mean, beat a team twice doesn't mean you'll lose them the third time. I just think because of the passing offense, I'm not convinced it's going to get going this week. And then, I mean, this is a Rams team that swapped out Devontae Adams for Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp was a great player. I think that's a significant upgrade. I think this is a better Rams offense than they face. They're starting to get more out of not only out of Kyren Williams, but also more out of Blake.
You got to wait for Kyren Williams to hold on to the damn football. That's his problem.
That is a fair point. And then you got a defensive line that was already really good, but you got Byron Young ascending into a really good player. Jared Verse is really good.
Yep.
We're talking about an Eagles offensive line that hasn't played as well this season. I still think by the end of the year they'll be pretty good, but it hasn't been great through 2 weeks. And you got a deep defensive line. They added Josiah Stewart. I mean, I think if they can get some pressure on Hurts, I still have questions about the secondary. Obviously, it looks like Emmanuel Forbes might start. So this is not like
you better get AJ involved.
Yeah, better get AJ involved. But I'm gonna.
It wasn't a week before. Holy moly!
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Rams. But it's not like I'm feeling. I think the Eagles could win this game, but I'm gonna roll with the Rams with just a gut feeling pick.
Right.
And
I like it. I like it.
Make sure you guys follow Caden at Caden_Steele19. Read all his work at NJ.com. Caden, thank you for joining in, brother. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yep. Thanks, bud.
All right, there's Caden Steele. Good stuff from Caden Steele. John, we're overtime. Didn't even realize we were overtime, brother. Went a little long there with Caden, but a good conversation nonetheless. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here on a Thursday edition of Road 365. I know you got to run.
Yeah, obviously, you got to pick the game later in the week, but I will say that I am not picking the Eagles to lose until they actually lose. So I'm giving things away.
Wow. All right.
Until I see them lose, I'm not picking them to lose. I don't give like who are the Rams?
You're right. You're right. Am I crazy, John, for wanting a little more? Like I know the team keeps winning.
No, I say it all the time.
I think this team is capable of fucking.
Well,
dominant.
the only thing I've shifted is I've embraced the idea that they're not going to be what people want them to be. What they are going to do is win a whole shitload of football games.
Yeah, that's true, and that's most important.
But they are never going to be a high pay, and they never were. That's the part that gets.
I don't want them to be. I just think they're capable of a little bit more, and that little bit more to me would equate to dominance because you're already beating teams, without even getting anything else going. Without getting AJ Brown's got 35 yards in 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't
high-powered passing offense or not, John. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it can't sustain itself over, and that's why I was saying what happened is that Baltimore and the Carolina games came in week 1 and 2. So you're going to see the Pittsburgh games and the 260 games and the 270 games. You're going to see those games. I can't tell you when, maybe this weekend, but you're going to see those games, and everything's going to even itself out, and they're going to be very similar to what they were last year. The question is, can they go win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And then it solves everything. And everybody's like, oh, remember last year? Well, yeah, last year wasn't great either from a volume standpoint.
Right.
But everybody was satisfied with the end result.
No doubt. Johnny Mac, what's on the agenda real quick today for the Birds?
Practice later in the afternoon, open locker room, no coaches or anything like that today. So just practice and players. And then Friday, Nick Sirianni and off and running towards week 3, 1:00 game. Enjoy it.
Yep, no doubt. In Philly too. So good stuff there. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on a Football Friday. Thank you, man.
All right. Thanks all.
All right. There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. Great show today, everybody. Appreciate everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. All right. We've been slacking a little bit this week on the likes. I do want to keep getting those likes up. All right. You guys were killing it a week ago. So let's try and keep smashing that like button. I keep forgetting to remind you guys. Appreciate everybody for being here today. I don't know. Maybe I'm going a little far on the offense. I just think that this team has capabilities of being dominant, man. I really do. And I'm sorry. I know John keeps saying this. I'm not really buying the whole that's not Jalen's game. Jalen can't do that. Bullshit. I don't think that's true at all. Sure, Jalen's not going to be the highest volume passer in the world. I agree with that. But they're capable of more than this. Okay? They're capable of more than this. I have a hard time being told they're not capable of more than this. All right. I know it's only 2 weeks. I understand that. I know everybody's going to be on me about that. I understand it. But at the same time, I don't think it's a bad thing to want this team to be great. This team is an opportunity. This team is built to be a dynasty. Okay, they are. They're built to be a dynasty. They are that good. They are that talented. They have that type of talent. They really do. I want them to achieve it. I want them to get there. All right. But I know I know they're winning. I understand. You guys are right. They're winning. They are winning. And I have to remember that. But it just feels like we could do more, man, than squeaking by. Let's see what Mills has to say. Hey, Mills! Hey, yo, Mills! Don't tell me Mills is back. You guys remember Mills from the summer? And Mills has been crying about this all summer. Is Mills still here or is he out of here? Okay. A.J. Brown to Dallas at the trade deadline. Why? You don't need A.J. Brown. You got 2 good receivers. What do you need A.J. Brown for? We're not getting rid of A.J. Brown. We're in the middle of a Super Bowl window. What do you think? We're going to take one of the best receivers in football and ship him out of here? What do you think we are, the Cowboys? What do you think we are, a shitty run organization, Mills? Come on, Mills. Mills, I know you got a brain up there in that head. Somewhere in that head you got a brain. Use it. All right? Use it. Dawood, what's up, Dawood? Right, Z. Haven't seen Hurts rip a 15-yard out like the what the FKP. Smitty is money on double moves. Dawood, this is where I get it. Like people get mad at me for saying this shit, and I understand. People just want to win, and partly Jalen Hurts has built that into their head, and I don't think it's a bad mindset, right? Just win. But anybody that tells me this team isn't capable of more, I'm just not buying it. All right, wins or not, I'm just not buying. This team has the ability to literally shred teams. With this defense looks way ahead of schedule this year. They look like they're going to be another top 5 unit. All right, Vic Fangio's got these boys playing good. Outside of Adoree Jackson, I don't see a hole in the defense. Outside of Adoree Jackson, I do not see a hole. Edge rusher got way better with Zadarius Smith. Nolan Smith's playing great football right now. Jahad Campbell, Zach Bond. Cooper DeJean's had a good start to the year again. Quinyon Mitchell on the outside. Reed hasn't had his best start, but still a solid player. Makuba looks like he's, much more along than we thought he would be as a rookie. Outside of Adoree Jackson, this team's going to be a top 5 defense. I don't want to skate by every week. I don't think we got to live like that. And I think Jalen knows that. I really do. I know Jalen just wants to win, and you guys are right about that. Win, win, win. That's the most important thing, 100%. But you can't just have this mindset of, okay, we're never going to evolve. We're never going to improve our quarterback. We're never going to improve this part of our game because all we have to do is just reduce it to this. I know, again, maybe I went too far, but we're reducing this shit to rubble. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. All right. Alfredo's spamming. Let's see what Alfredo's got to say. Alfredo, no need to spam, buddy. Relax. Now, no way Jalen can't throw for 250 a game. You're not wrong, Zander. This is the best team we ever had, and we may never see this type of roster in a long time after this era. I know we're winning still. Alfredo, I'm with you. I understand. You're right. You said the nail on the head. I understand. All right. We're winning, but holy shit. I feel like this team could be destroying teams. Jay the Legend says, they're not getting rid of AJ because they'd be 90 mil in dead cap. That's actually not true, Jay. I appreciate it. And this is a narrative that's going around social media. But let's just do this together. I'll pull it up for you guys so you can see. All right, and again, I'm not entertaining this bullshit because they're not trading fucking AJ Brown. Stop with that. Shitty teams trade great players in the middle of a Super Bowl window. All right? Nobody. All right? No good teams, no good general managers trade great players in the middle of Super Bowl windows. So, Jay the Legend, forget the dead cap hit. Who cares what it is? Okay? Now I'm going to show you what it is, but who cares what it is? They ain't trading AJ Brown regardless because you don't do that when you're a great team. But let's look at it. All right? Let's look at it. All right, let me pull it up for you guys here. And I'm going to show you. I think I got premium on this thing, so I can show you what the I got premium on SpotTrack, so let me log in here. All right, here we go. Let me show you this real quick. All right, this is AJ Brown's contract. Let me make this a little bigger. All right. All right, here we go. 2025 is the year. All right. So you can come over here, right here. This is where everybody's getting that 90 mil dead cap. See that? 89.9 mil is the dead cap if you move on from AJ Brown right now. All right. Let me show you why that's bullshit. All right. So you open up this window and you can see this is for the 2025 season. So we are already post 6-1. So a post 6-1 release. So if they released AJ Brown, which obviously we would never do, release AJ Brown. Never would happen, ever in a million years. $69 million dead cap hit. All right, there's the number right there. You lose out on $51 million this year, and your dead cap in 26 is $20 million. All right, so it's already less than 90. 90 was the pre-June 1st release. Post-June 1st trade, which is what they would do right now if they did anything, which they will. Well, they won't do, okay? 2025 dead cap is $10.6 million. And the 2026 dead cap is $20.5 million. All right, so this is where we are right now. It would be $10.6 million dead cap, which is not a lot. They've eaten way more dead cap than that. And $20 million next year. All right, you go into next season. If you wanted to move him next offseason, all right, pre-June 1st, the trade would be a $20 million dead cap, kind of the same thing. And if you waited till post-June 1 next offseason, all right, you're looking at a $10 million dead cap and a 9/9/27 dead cap. So it's not really 90 mil, okay? It's not 90 mil, but again, good teams don't trade great players in the middle of Super Bowl windows, all right? Nobody's doing that. So I just wanted to give you the context, though. Oh, Jay the Legend, appreciate your super chat, brother. All right, good to have you in here. Good to see you, Jay. I'm waiting to talk to you on the post-game show. Here's my guy, Junior. What up, Junior? He said, I like that dog. Pretty dog in the profile picture there. You're not crazy. This team can easily be argued as the best roster in the NFL. We can't be settling, squeaking by with 3-point wins. I agree, Junior. I think striving for more is not a bad thing, all right? Striving for more is not a bad thing. All right. Underdog, you talking to me? Underdog says, good. Then I assume I'll see you soon enough. Nothing else to talk about. # banned from the parade. Underdog, I'm actually pissed off I didn't see you at the parade last year. What's going on with that, Underdog? What, you didn't show up? Too cool for the JAKIB float, Underdog? That JAKIB float was iconic. All right. I don't know if you're talking to me, honestly. All right. Here's Josh. What's up, Josh? Yo, Z, between producing and planning, when do you have time to watch the All-22 and make notes? That shit's a struggle. Josh, I do it all day, dude. I sit here. All right, look. I sit here. I got my iMac right here. This is where I do most of my show production. This is where I do my clips. This is where I do my business management. This is where I do everything for the back end of the business. Right here, I have my laptop. Laptop is where I pull up other things I want to get to during the day. You know, some Eagle notes, different things like that. Watch social media, make sure I'm getting all the updates on the team. And then my iPad, which isn't right next to me right now. But the iPad I put up, and it's right next to me right here normally. And I watch the All-22 there. So I'll watch it. You know, sometimes I watch it during the Sills Open when I'm doing some production and I have it on. I got a lot of time. Well, I don't have a lot of time. I work all day. But when you work 16, 17-hour days, you have time to do shit. You know what I mean? You get to everything. Takes a while, but access to the All-22, you can be an NFL premium member, and you get access that way. All right. Yo, Z, Miami Dolphins about to have a fire sale. Yo, Dawood, who do you like? Don't give me that Tyreek Hill bullshit. You know what I find funny? All right, let me just right on the bench. I'll get to your super thanks, bro, in a second. All right. You know what I find hilarious? And I do this too, and I'm probably going to do it every year. All right, so get used to it. We'll probably all do it together every year. All right. But one of my favorite things is when you're in training camp mode and you haven't gotten to the season yet. One of my favorite things is, like, we talked about Darius Cooper, and I love Darius Cooper. I talked about him. I tweeted about him. They got to keep him. We can't even get A.J. Brown the fucking ball. And we're talking about Darius Cooper in training camp. We can't even get A.J. Brown the ball. All right? We got 30 yards to A.J. Brown through 2 weeks. All right? All right? Corvettes don't buy themselves. Boy, is that a true comment. Yeah. And houses. I got to get a house. All right? I'm an engaged man now. I got to get a house. All right? So. Let me go to my boy Rod in the bench. What's up, Rod in the bench? Good to see you, my guy. He says the offense and play calling makes zero sense. It's BS to suggest this fits our quarterback skill set when he's only averaging six yards on throws. His skill set is the deep ball and playing outside the pocket. Rod in the bench. It almost feels like they don't even try and get him outside the pocket anymore. Like, when's the last time you saw Jalen Hurts legitimately, and I mean on a play design, not on a Hurts playmaking ability, making something out of nothing. I'm talking about a play design where you roll him out of the pocket and look for a strike downfield. They don't even do that. You got one of the best mobile quarterbacks who has proven to make plays outside the pocket, like you just say in this super chat, and they don't even roll him out. They don't even give him a bootleg. Like, I know there's a narrative I hate, all right? There's a narrative I fucking hate, and I'm going to say what it is right now. Jalen Hurts hates play action. And hey, maybe it's not his favorite thing in the world, but you're a quarterback. You have Saquon Barkley. By default, you're not allowed to not run play action. And I think Hurts would agree. Forget whatever we personally like. We got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and we have the best running back in football. What does that mean? That means play action. That means you're going to be able to kill it in play action. Fake the handoff, roll them out, and look downfield. Like, I don't get it. Oh, Jalen doesn't like play. Bullshit. Says who? Says who? I don't know, man. I don't get that. You know? Oh, Jalen doesn't like play. Bullshit. Bullshit. I guarantee if you ask Jalen to run play action, he'll run play action. I guarantee it. I'm not buying the narrative. Like, that's one thing I don't like right now. All right, and Denise brings up a fine point. She says, let's leave the focus for stats on the other 31 NFL teams while we focus on the W's. You're right, Denise, but, you know, everything I do in life, Denise, I'm trying to be better, and that's not going to change with my Eagle fandom. I don't like the approach here because it almost feels like they're not trying to improve and build on what Jalen is. Dude, he's 27. Tom Brady was getting better at 40. I keep saying this. Like, you don't just because Jalen's been in the league now for 6 years doesn't mean, okay, he's a finished product. He can't be anything different than what he's been. Bullshit. I don't like that narrative. Yeah, Daz, that's what I'm saying. Like, when they are trying to pass, watch. It's Jalen in the pocket. And look, all right, I think we can all be honest about players have strengths and players have weaknesses. One of Jalen's weaknesses is pocket awareness. He's just not that comfortable in the pocket, and that's okay. That's fine. I'm perfectly good with Jalen Hurts making plays outside the pocket, but when he sits there in the pocket, it's not his favorite way to operate. You can tell. You can see him. You can see the uneasiness. You know, he's not a pocket quarterback, but yet they refuse to bootleg him out, roll him out a little bit. Look downfield. I don't know, man. I don't know. Here's Denise. Zander, teams won't cover Darius like they do AJ. Perfect move to put Darius in. Hey, man. So, Denise, you're thinking we can get Darius Cooper involved? I don't know. Part of me wants to get AJ involved first, but I hear you. Jay the Legend. Jay, thanks for the super chats today, my man. He says it's going to take 5 games to get offense clicking like it did last year. That's true. We got to look. It is early. I understand that. It's early. It's really early. All right. Jim says, nothing like instilling confidence in your QB by telling him not to throw. Yeah, right, Jim. Right. Zander, you're a talk show host. Don't talk. If when you talk, you might say something stupid, so don't talk. That's like what that feels like to me. Zander, I know you're a talk show host, but muzzle yourself. What? How the hell am I supposed to get better? How am I supposed to improve and evolve and grow? Michael J. Michael, don't worry, man. I'm not stressed. All right. I'm a generally happy person. All right. I love life. I appreciate the fact that I woke up today. I really do. All right. It could all end, man, in a blink of an eye. I could be gone. All right. I can never see this business again. So I appreciate each day. But he says, Michael G says, Zander, patience is a virtue. After game 4, if the offense is still struggling, then you can blow a gasket. Stress is bad for your health. Keep up the good work. Oh, man, that's funny. I'll keep grinding, brother. I'm not stressed. I'm not too stressed. I think there's a natural stress that comes when you own a business. You know, you got bills to pay, you got payroll, you got salaries, you got shit that, you know what I mean? You got to keep the roof over your head. You gotta feed your family. There's a lot of shit that comes with it. But overall, I'm doing all right, Michael J. Thank you, my guy. All right. Dirty Air says, Xander, did you see we signed Kenyon Green to the active? Is Landon about to miss time? I don't think so, Dirty Air. I mean, I think John would have said that today. I'm not getting that vibe, but I guess it's something to keep an eye on. Dirty Air. I'll keep an eye on it. Brian Waddington, what's up, B-Wad? Guys, we might do another giveaway today. I didn't hear back from our winner yesterday. I sent out the shirts though, so I'm cooking. All right. I sent out Thomas Gruber, Mike Berghorst, CZ, 956 Eagles. All 4 shirts. Boom. Sent. Thomas Farzetta, I'm working on your jersey. I don't have your size. You know that. You emailed me. I got your email. And then Kevin Cameronis. I think he's done and dusted, folks. I reached out to him, and I have not heard shit. All right. Do a giveaway, Zander. Might as well. Well, it's easy for you to say, Ian. No, but I got the jersey from yesterday, so I don't think Kevin's going to be claiming it, so I'll be doing that. All right. Zander, did you see how Malati got pissed with Adam Schefter? Yeah. 956. Bullshit. Enjoy your shirt and shut up. All right. Big Z, check your DMs on Discord. Holy guacamole. All right, ZM. Relax, dude. Fucking email me, ZM. If it's so damn important, then email me. I'm a busy man. You want me to just sit on Discord and wait for your DM? Holy shit. There's my email. You got something pressing, then email me. I may or may not respond. Yep, I don't think I owe you a shirt. All right. Izzy B says Zander hates Discord. I don't hate him. I don't have a lot of time to go on there and sit on Discord, but I do like kind of seeing what you guys are chatting about every once in a while. All right. Okay. Pay Big Sills with Big Macs. Now, Big Sills demands the big bucks. All right. Notice Big Sills is always happiest on Fridays. All right. So Big Sills is always happiest on Fridays when that check hits. All right. Right, GM. I got you. All right, yeah, I'll get there. All right. Holy shit. Caleb says the dagger Hurts called in the Super Bowl was play action, right? Yeah, and they don't want to use that anymore. I don't know why, Caleb. All right. Dang, the Underdog. This is where I'm so in agreement with my boy Underdog. Dude, we have this roster. I feel like people are not understanding how good this roster is right now. These rosters do not come along a lot. We got people in here who've been fans of this team maybe 40, 50 years who never seen a roster like this. The assumption that this roster is just here and will always be here is a false premise. All right, this is a crazy roster. Crazy good roster. Brian Washington says, gets to talk shit on the Eagles and gets paid. Big Sill's a happy man. Well, listen, I don't think he wants to talk shit all day. Well, he does. I mean, but that's just the lens Sills sees football through. Everything should be better. It's kind of who he is. It's always been who he is. M. Reyes. We won the Super Bowl and are 2-0. We're very aware of the dominance of this team. LOL. All right, Reyes. I know you don't want to be better. They should be improving. They should be building on what Jalen Hurts is. All right. Dank, I appreciate your takes. So Dank says, have some GD patience. All right. You mother effers think this is a finished product. No, you're right, Dank. All right. You're right, Dank. We got to give it more time. We got to give it some more time. I'm with you. We do. We'll give it more time. But at the end of the day, we're better than this. We don't need to squeak by the Chiefs. We don't need to squeak by the Cowboys. All right. Philly Don says, you're right, Zander. 50 plus years of being a fan, we've never had a roster like this. You're right, man. You're right, Don. All right. What's with the Green signing? I don't know why they did that. I'll keep an eye on it. Now that I know you guys are talking about it, I'll keep an eye on it. Kenyon Green, back to the active roster. Cowboys fans shouldn't be allowed to breed is one of the funniest comments I've ever read without laughing. The W is what matters at the end of the day. I know, Reyes. You have no desire for greatness in your life. All you want to do is the bare minimum to get by. Sorry, Reyes, but I'm not wired that way. Bare minimum is not the way I like to live life. Just do the bare minimum to win. Maybe. All right. Just an interesting signing because he stinks but Landon nursing that injury. Yeah, you're right. All right. YouTube Jay Capalot says we need to be better. I agree. We'll get there. It is week 2. All right, we're going into week 3. So I understand. All right, let's see how it continues to evolve through the next couple of weeks. But so far, I'm not all that impressed with what they're trying to do. I'm not impressed with what they're trying to accomplish. You know, like I'd almost rather. Well, whatever. I won't even say that because everybody will freak out. Denise says the wide receiver route trees are a problem. Jalen is not left with much after the first options aren't there. Yeah, they're not doing a whole lot. Daz, it doesn't hurt my heart. He says, man, it hurts my heart watching Tyler Warren ball out. How dumb are the Bears? Passed on Jalen Carter and now Tyler Warren. Yeah, what? And who'd they take? Colston Loveland? Has that dude done shit? Caleb Williams is not it, guys. Has Colston Loveland done anything? Like, has he literally done a thing? Oh, man. Colston Loveland right now has 12 yards on the year. How good's Warren been? I haven't been following as much as I should. Tyler Warren. What's he doing? Oh, 2 straight games at 75-plus yards. Ooh! The Bears, man, they stink. I agree, Deshae. Loveland can play. Got to give him a little time. But Tyler Warren's good. Underdog. 30th last year, 31st this year. Seems pretty consistently inconsistent to me. Underdog. I know you're not a Jalen guy, but don't you think he can be like, don't you think he's capable of more than they're asking him to do? Like, I know you think come on, man. Like, I've seen at least flashes to say, all right, Jalen is not. Come on. He's not this incompetent, quarterback that's incapable of throwing the ball. That's not Jalen Hurts. I mean, dude, I did watch A.J. Brown have 2 straight 1,500-yard years. You can't do that with a quarterback that blows. You can't do that with a quarterback that blows. Devontae Smith had almost 1,000 yards his rookie year. Like, we're better than this. Warren would have had 20 yards with us right now. He would 20. That might be rich. I think A.J. Brown barely has 20 yards, man. Oh, I know people are going to get mad at me for talking about this shit, but it's just funny. AO, yeah, AO can be retired, all right? AO can be retired, all right? AO can be retired. All right, everybody, I'm getting out of here. We'll do the giveaway tomorrow. I don't think Kevin's going to claim it, but he's supposed to have till 11, so he's got 30 more minutes, but I don't have 30 more minutes of Zander time in me today. So I'll do another giveaway for a Football Friday. I like a Football Friday giveaway anyway. I like a little Football Friday giveaway anyway. All right, so we'll do a giveaway tomorrow. We'll do a giveaway tomorrow. I'm supposed to try and pick up the jerseys today. My guy's switching up where he is, but Z, what's up with Carter Hart not wanting to return to the Flyers? Bud, my question for you is, why do you want him to return to the Flyers? Was he some great goaltender that he was chalked up to be, Bud? Come on. He wasn't. All right. Underdog says he works hard, laser focused, underqualified for the job, doesn't know enough to be consistent. I don't think so, Underdog. Yeah, he's not the highest volume passer in the world, but $20 super chat will keep you on the air. Vulnerable, what's up, brother? Appreciate you, man. He says, starting to think their thought process is to ease into the offense every season rather than turning it loose at the beginning when the team is still meshing and the likelihood of miscues is higher. Don't excuse no AJ though. That's maybe. All right, that might be fair. You know, I had somebody say that they're willingly trying to not peak too early. That could be possible. Wouldn't be my favorite approach, but that could be possible. And I do agree that you don't want to peak too early as a team in any sport, really. I mean, people keep asking me, are the Phillies going to win the World Series this year? And I'm like, I'll talk to you in October. Are they hot in October or are they not? They're hot right now. Phillies are red hot right now. Will they be hot in October? Lot can change in a month, as anybody who watches the Phillies games knows. All right, they could be on a tear, and then a couple games later, it's like, whoa, what happened? They can't hit, they can't pitch, the bullpen sucks. You know, so that's my question on the Phillies. That's going to be the question on the Eagles. All right. Starts after Thanksgiving is when they really need to be playing their best ball. Maybe even later. You know, December, January, that's when you really want to be playing your best football. All right. So, yeah, it was you, Dirty Air. He says, yeah, it was me. They love the competition advantage shit. They believe they have the dogs to win ugly now and put out shit tape, then turn it up later. Feels like feels like the wrong approach to me, but I get it. I mean, I understand not wanting to, I'm not going to say it like that, but I understand not wanting to do it all early, but Vulnerable, I kind of agree with what you're saying. He adds, I'll add that they may keep it simple so there's less to fix when the offense is humming, they open it up. I don't know, but none of it effing makes sense. So just trying to rationalize it. No, I'm with you. I refuse to believe that Jalen Hurts is not capable of a little bit more than this, though. That's where I don't agree with people. It's like, oh, this is just the offense. I'm like, bullshit. This is just the offense. Like, I've seen with my own two eyes Jalen be capable of way more than this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. That's one of the most beautiful parts about sports. We'll see what happens. All right. We will see what happens. All right. Love all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. Hit that like button, man. Appreciate you being here this morning. Underdog, Vulnerable Vitality, M. Reyes. You know I love you, M. Reyes, even though you're as delusional as they come. YouTube, J. Capilot. Denise, one of our great female listeners. Denise, we appreciate you, Denise. She says, we're just anxious coming off the Super Bowl. We love our birds. Yes, we do, Denise. Dank Bird Gang, who is calling for some patience. Dank, I think that was you, right? Calling for patience. Dank, appreciate you, brother. All right. Dirty Air, thank you, man. Daz, Abe. Abe, I know you're feeling like me a little bit about this team. All right. And I appreciate that, Abe. So 956, Wild Bear. Guys, lock in tomorrow. We're going to do a giveaway tomorrow. All right. We're going to do a giveaway tomorrow on Zander time. All right. Appreciate all you guys doing it. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.
I can't leave when you get a super chat. Dirty Air just had to wait. He had to wait till the last second and says, you ain't going nowhere, just like Camp Blockatera, which is a great nickname that's a great nickname for Grant Calcaterra. All right. Dirty Air, I know you did this shit intentionally, but I can't leave when I get a super chat from the great people of JAKIB Nation. You ever want to know how to keep me on the air? You drop me a super chat. Come on, Izzy B. Are you next, Izzy B? Hit me with a super chat. I'll go all day. All right, we get enough super chats. I'll talk here right through to 2 o'clock to the National Football Show. All right, I ain't afraid to do it. But I can't believe, Dirty Air, the only thing I'm pissed off at you is this. Not that you had me come back. It's that you had me come back to talk about Grant Calcaterra. You think I want to talk about Grant Calcaterra? That dude is a stiff. He is a stiff. And shame on you for bringing me back to talk about Camp Locatera. Okay. Now Dirty Eric gets 5 memberships. Oh, baby! He wants to give away today. Dirty Air is bored this morning. Dirty, how many people did we lose by running the outro? And now we're back. Now we're back with 5 gifteds and a super chat. Who's next? If I get another super chat in the next 30 seconds, I'll lock in. All right. Dirty Air's procrastinating bad. So much to the point where he sent supers and gifted 5 people. I'm back. I can't believe I'm here right now. It was supposed to be over. I ran the outro. I started to plan my next steps in the day. And Dirty Air brings me back into the mix. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. All right. I appreciate the people who stayed on, though. All right. That's love. That's love. Now I'm leaving again. Unless something else pops up on my screen, I am leaving again. Love all you guys. See you next time.
EAGLES. Eagles.